There we go. Can y'all see me now? Let me know. Can everybody see me? All right. Let's see. I see we got VA Beach. We got Connecticut. Let's give people a chance to come on all platforms. By the way, y'all, we're streaming live on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. So if you are not, if you're watching, and this is your first time seeing me, type a one, and then follow or subscribe where you're at, so you can actually join this community, because anybody will tell you that we are very committed over here to making sure you save thousands of dollars, save all the money you should be saving on any car you get. So shout out to the sharers. Welcome. I see the ones. Welcome to the people who are checking in for the first time. So we're gonna be doing a lot of Q&A. I want y'all to really get your questions ready. If you are shopping for a car, get your questions ready. Tag a friend, hit the share button, and let's light up TikTok with the likes, so we can make sure that we letting people know. I see we got about 300-400 people between all the platforms. We actually got about 500 people right now. So let's get going. By the way, if you don't know, my new digital book, Car Shopping for People That Hate Car Shopping, is now officially launched. So I'm excited about that. You can get it anytime while you're watching for 75% off by going to my TikTok bio or my Instagram bio. You got 75% off for I believe 30 minutes. And if you're watching on YouTube or Facebook, let me put up the banner so that you guys can get yours. You could go to deshonsbook.com, or you can scan the QR code. All right, so let's get to it. Do we wait till the election to buy a car? I wouldn't. You know what? I would be in the market early. There's two very important dates y'all have to remember when you're car shopping. Two very important dates. And this will help you to not procrastinate, but it'll also help you not to rush. Your first date is the as soon as date. Remember that. What is the as soon as date? That's the soonest you could buy a car. That's the soonest you can accept a deal. We call this the as soon as date. So if you are watching, if you're watching and you're like, Deshone, I could buy a car tomorrow. There's nothing stopping me. Then that means your as soon as date is tomorrow. Now you might be saying, Deshone, I'm waiting for my taxes. I'm waiting for my taxes to come. I want to have some money down. Then your as soon as date will be when your taxes come. See, your as soon as date is always when you are able to accept the deal. Now, second date is your no later than date. That is your deadline. That is I can't have a car later than this date. Now, some of you, that could be the same day. But most times you have a week. Like, okay, Deshone, I could get a car today, and my no later than date is like the end of this month because I'm in a rental right now. The point is, the difference between those two dates is your leverage. I've had people who I help shop, when I show them these two dates, they might have 3 months in between. Deshone, I could get a car now, or I could wait up till June 1st when I retire, whatever. That means that's your leverage. That's your time for watching the market, because your deals change, price trends change. Whether you're shopping new car, used car, lease, the price is going to change monthly. You're going to see, and it's very important that you have these two dates so that you know, all right, and you also pay attention whenever you find a car that you like and you're ready to actually get an offer on it. We always let the dealer know, I can accept the deal today, but I'm not, I don't need to accept the deal until, and then you tell them you're no later than date. We do all of this by email, by the way. But if you're going to do it verbally, that's fine too. But it's very important, because when you tell them you're no later than date, now they see you're not desperate. Now they see, oh, if I have a car coming next week, oh, I got this car coming in the way you want it, but it won't be here until a month from now. We're in, it won't be here for another 30 days. Is that okay? This is one of the benefits of not rushing. Now, if you're an emergency, I understand. But when you ask, should we wait until the election to buy a car? I'm telling you that you should be using all your time in between those windows to shop the market, look at offers, say no to bad offers, and accept good offers. That's the name of the game. That's leverage. What about leasing cars? Somebody said on TikTok. I see we lighting up the likes on TikTok. I appreciate it. Could everybody who shares If you are a sharer, I know not everybody's a sharer. If you are, could everybody share this broadcast with somebody? Tag somebody or hit that share button. I appreciate it. Shout out to the sharers. I see you, B. Lower. Thank you for sharing. What about leasing cars? Is that a good idea? Absolutely, y'all. Listen, the biggest thing that has been taught the wrong way is that leasing cars is the most expensive way to own a car. It's a lie. If you are not keeping a car more than 8 years, you are losing thousands of dollars not leasing. I'm gonna give you an example. I'm gonna put up on the screen right here. This is Taupe. Taupe, she leased a BMW. You can see right here that the MSRP of the BMW was $54,750. Now, just in case y'all are not aware of how much a payment would be on a $54,000, who remembers what I said? Every $5,000 on a loan is how much per month? Let me see who's seen that video. Who remembers? Every $5,000 on a loan is how much per month? Every $5,000 you borrow is at $100 a month. Exactly. Every $5,000. I don't even know if I asked the question right. Every $5,000 is $100 a month on a 5-year loan. So when you look at a car and you're talking about 50,000, that's $1,000 a month payment, y'all, for 5 years. That's $1,000. So there are people driving the same BMW that Taupe right here is driving, that I'm showing on YouTube and Facebook and Instagram, and they're paying $1,000 a month. She's paying $690. So when we talk about leasing, if you know how to get great lease deals, because great lease deals are not advertised, pay no attention to these commercials that y'all see that say, come lease this car for, $490 a month with $4,200 do it signing. No, all of that stuff you're going to learn the more you stick around, the more you hang around here, like the more you learn from me. We don't believe marketing, y'all. They don't advertise great deals. So that's the whole thing. Leasing is for people who don't keep their cars. If you do not keep your cars more than 8 years, you are losing thousands not leasing cars. Because the person who leases and gets great lease deals, you're just going to pay so you're going to pay so little of a payment compared to the car you're buying. So like I said, that person who's Taupe is paying $690, there's another person paying $1,000 a month. There's another person paying $1,100 a month. There's another person paying $950 a month. She's paying $690. It's no comparison. So you got to know when leasing is right for you. That's if you're not keeping your cars 8 years, and you have to know how to get great lease deals. And that comes through competitive bids, multiple offers, y'all. When you start using bids, and I want you to use this, your next car who's shopping for a car now or in the next 12 months? Type me in the comments. Let me get a clear indicator. I want you using, let me put the banner back up for the book. All of you who don't know, my new book is 75% off for a few minutes while you're here, while you're watching. You can get it for 75. It's a digital book. You can download it and start using it immediately. So all of you who are saying me, this is what I need you to know. I need you to know that your next purchase needs to be, if you truly want to save money and you truly want to have peace of mind and a guarantee that you paid less than anyone, you must use bids. You must step out of this one-to-one, and you must start shopping multiple dealers against each other. And that's what when you see how much money you're going to save doing this, you'll never go back to the whole way. That is what I call the new way. And you must do that to reveal the true saving, the rebate. Some of you don't know that there's rebates that are unadvertised that you'll never know about. There's sometimes people may give you some of the rebate, or they might give you none of it, or you might not know about it. Sometimes you can qualify for conquest rebate depending on what car you have. Oh, listen, this is important. I want to give y'all real quick, and then we're going to keep the Q&A moving, what a dealer must have to give you an offer online. I want y'all to remember this. If it's in the book, but I want you to remember this, because half the time we can't get a quote because we're not giving the dealer everything they need to give us a quote. So here are the things we must have to get a quote online. We must have our zip code. The dealer must have our zip code because they can't give us a quote including tax. Must have our zip code. Must have what we do for a living. Now, if you're shopping for a used car, this is not going to apply. Those of you who are going to be leasing, when you lease, because you will lease at some point, either your child, your spouse, somebody in your house is not keeping their cars 8 years, and they should be leasing. So when you're leasing or when you're buying brand new, this is what the dealer must have to provide a quote for you. Can we keep shooting the likes up on TikTok? I appreciate y'all. We see the likes in the top left already going crazy. Thank you so much. They must have zip code. They must have what we do for a living to see if there's any rebates we qualify for. They must have our title. So if you're an attorney, they want to know you're an attorney because there may be rebates you qualify for. What vehicles are in your household to see rebate you qualify for. See, the reason why y'all notice, who's ever tried to get quotes or tried to shop online and they saw, man, this is difficult, they're making it hard, or man, why am I not getting the information I need? Who's had that experience? Type H for hard if you have tried to shop and you have found shopping online to be hard to get your offers. Okay, I see y'all. Here's why. 2 reasons. 80% of dealers are overpriced. And what I want for you is I want the peace of mind of you seeing that. I want you being so good at shopping multiple offers that you're able to see what we know already. The people who have been using what I teach, using the stuff in my book, using the stuff in our video library, Cars from Home, we know 80% of dealers are absolutely going to try to overcharge you. And you're going to see that when you look at their offers while you sit at home or while you're at work. That's when you're going to see, wow, a lot of these deals are overpriced, but some aren't. Here's the key, y'all. I see everybody sharing. Appreciate y'all. This is the key. Some aren't. Some are going to beat their competition. And when you use these strategies, you want to make sure that you are absolutely that's the first reason. 80% of this is the reason why it may have been hard for you to shop online. 80% of dealers are going to make it hard. They're trying to make all the money they can. They're trying to make thousands upon thousands of dollars every car. They're not interested in beating their competition. They're interested in making sure they can make the most money possible each car. That's 80%. So now the 20%, the reason why it's hard for you to get offers from them is because we're not giving them everything that they need. In order to beat the competition, in order to make sure that you have a price quote that beats everybody else, the dealer must know what you do for a living, where you work at, any affiliations you have in terms of Costco, in terms of AAA, in terms of any affiliations. You never know when a particular brand is doing a rebate with a particular organization for that month. Remember I said earlier, the deals change month to month. So we need to know every single car in your household, and if you lease it or if you own it. Because again, there might be a loyalty rebate or there might be a conquest rebate. And then here's what we do when we contact. In my book, you're using all my contact. You're saying exactly what I would tell you to say. Thank you, Peyton. You're not making up your own. That's why I want you to get the book. It should, let me know. Somebody said it's still showing the normal price. Let me reset. It should be showing the 75% off price. If you're on Instagram, go to my Instagram bio. You're not going to leave the broadcast. If you're on TikTok, go to my TikTok bio. Let me know when you try to get your copy, if it's showing the 75% off price. And I'll try to reset it. So let me get back here. Okay. My wife is going in for a recall for her car today. She has 6 months left, 6 months left on the lease, and the sales department reached out and asked if she wants to look at a new lease. So who has dealers calling them, asking them to come in and saying, hey, we'll buy your car, we'll look at, we'll get you out of your car, we'll upgrade you, we'll try to keep your payment the same. Who has dealers calling, reaching out to them saying that? Type me if you're experiencing that right now, or if you have experienced that. Okay, Lynn has, I see you. What's up, JRP, watching in New Jersey? Great to see you. Okay, so Jan, so a lot of people, all right, look, a lot of people, all right, I see Kim Breeze. All right, so here's the reason, and here's what we must do. They want to tell us what our car is worth before we figure out what it's worth. The old days, you wanted more money than a dealer was going to pay you, you sold your car privately, right? We don't need to do that anymore. What we need to be doing is getting offers from the people that buy cars. And this is bidding. And it still goes back to bidding, y'all. Everything you're going to learn from me is going to be you learning to get bids on every part of your car deal, because that's what's going to give you price assurance. That's going to give you your price guarantee. So they want to look at your car and assess the car before you do. That's why we always must know what our car is worth, and we always must know if we have any equity and how much equity we have. And here's how we do it. We call our bank, or we call our leasing company if we're leasing, and we say, hey, how are you? I'm calling to get my payoff. Don't look on your contract. Don't get the residual value. Don't base it off that. You're calling to get your payoff. And then you're going to go on these websites that I always tell you about, CarMax.com, Driveway.com, Car Guru, Sell My Car, AutoNation, Sell My Car, Carvana.com, and I believe did I name all? And Kelly's Blue Book Instant Cash Offer. This is going to get you about 6 offers on your car, and this is going to tell you what your car is really worth. These people don't lowball. They are very competitive. They know that they're fighting against each other to buy cars. And this is how you never want a dealer, or anybody for that matter, a customer, a buyer, you never want that person telling you what your vehicle is worth. You want multiple offers so that even if one person is playing games, this other person is ready to write the check. And that's the confidence you have when you're able to sit at home. What I just told y'all to do will take you about 15 minutes, 20 minutes tops. Now, now, for those of you, this is all in the book. If you don't want to remember this, if you want to try to remember it, be my guest. You want to watch the rebroadcast, you want to watch, when we syndicate these episodes, the information is going to be timeless. But if you truly want to have the information in one place, get your book, scan the QR code for 75% off, or go to deshonsbook.com, or go to my TikTok or Instagram bios and get your 75% off. So let me reset it, because I did hear people say that they were trying to get on and they were still seeing the 75% price. Okay, so for those of you who are going to do that step that I just said, if you have a lease, it's very important that when they ask you, is the vehicle a lease, you say no. When you're on those websites, when they say, is the vehicle leased, owned, financed, you don't put lease, because when you put lease, it triggers something in their computer, because they don't know how to deal with third-party restrictions. And the problem, this came from the fact that 2 years ago, literally people were making, some of you may have, if you saw a video from me, or if you saw it from someone else, people were making $3,000 to $5,000 to $10,000 to $12,000 selling their leases. And then these companies, these banks didn't like that, and they started restricting who you could sell to. When you have a third-party restriction, it doesn't mean you cannot sell, it limits who you can sell to. So you need to know how to get around that. But when you're on those websites getting your values, if you're leasing, put no if they ask you if it's a lease. If you don't have a third-party restriction, you can sell to them directly. So when we call for our payoffs on our leases, we're always asking, do we have a third-party restriction? Yes or no is going to depend. The answer to that question is going to tell us who we can sell our lease to, if we have equity. MV asks, do you have a hard copy of the book? I don't, and I'm going to tell you why. The book is really an action guide, and it's designed to warp you to various places that are relevant to you. So I'll get to a part in the book where I say, if you are going to be, keeping your car more than 8 years, click this. If you're going to be keeping your car less than 8 years, click this. And then it'll take you to the section where you're supposed to be. So that way, if you're purchasing, I don't want you reading anything about leasing. If you're, and vice versa. So that book is meant, if you're a high mileage driver, I don't want you reading things that don't apply to high mileage drivers. You need a specific strategy and path for high mileage drivers. And we couldn't do that with a print book. We could only do that with a digital book. We also have links to videos. So there's going to be certain parts where I say, hey, let me explain this to you. And then I say, click here if you want to see this in video form. All right. So if you want your copy at 75% off, just scan the QR code. It's only available for a couple minutes because it's part of our book launch, but I want to give everybody an opportunity to get it at a reduced price. Even though we've sold a lot of them at $97, even before it was out. So it's worth every penny. But all right, let's get back to the question. How do you go from owning to leasing? Oh, this is a great question. Should you do that? Bonetta asks, how do you go from owning to leasing? And we're going to rotate all through questions. Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook. We're going to be getting questions from everybody. And some of you are going to see that somebody literally is going to ask the same question you were going to ask. That's the beautiful thing about this community too. Like most of you, you're going to see have similar questions. So how do you go from owning to leasing? Should you do that? Absolutely. If you're not keeping your next car 8 years, and if you're not keeping the current car you're in 8 years. Some of you, who's in a car that they own, that they don't see themselves keeping it more than 8 years. If you are in a car that you own right now, and you are not planning to keep that car 8 years, let us know. Let me know here. Because you're exactly who Bonetta just asked this question about. Me, but only because I need more space now. Now that happens sometimes, Keisha. That's one of the reasons I explained that on another broadcast. One of the reasons people have negative equity is you switch cars and it's an emergency. That's understandable. We don't want that happening too much, but it's allowable. Okay, so I see Richard Hampton on Instagram. I see Key Cole. All right. Okay. So if you're in a car that you own and you're not keeping it 8 years, then you should be, unless one exception is if you buy inexpensive cars. Sometimes we buy $5,000 cars, $7,000 cars, inexpensive cars under $10,000 basically. But if you're buying like $18,000 and $25,000 pre-owned cars and new cars, then this absolutely applies to you. If you're not keeping your car 8 years, then you should be looking to transition out of that car into a lease because you're going to drive a better product for the money you're paying. Right now, when you look at what you're paying, you're not driving the most for your money because you bought a car and it's going down in value every day versus somebody like this young lady. Like this guy, Greg. If you're on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube, you can see this. Look, this is a $56,000 vehicle, y'all. Look at this. He just got this Kia. You can see the date, February 9th, he picked it up. Look at the payment. It's $527 a month, y'all. You need to grasp that there are people who are driving this car now because they were taught never to lease, and they are paying a $56,000 car is an $1,100 a month car payment all day long. 56. We're not even talking about the taxes and fees. Let's assume that he got the $7,500 rebate. We're probably going to finance around $55,000. That is $1,100 a month, y'all. It doesn't surprise me when I see these videos where they're showing, the average car payment is over $1,000, or look how many people have payments of $1,000 or more. Yeah, because you can't even get a $56,000 car without going over $1,000 unless you just put a ton of money down. But look at the lease deal that Greg got, $527. You think he cares about anybody who taught him that I shouldn't be leasing? Look at what I'm driving. Look at what I'm paying. Look at what I'm driving. And look at what other people are paying for the same vehicle that I'm driving. Other people, because they were told, I own my car. Yeah, you pulling up next to me at the traffic light, and we both in the same exact car. Oh, man, that's a nice car, man. Is that the same car? We got the same car. Yeah, yours is nice, man. I like that car. And if you don't mind me asking, man, this thing expensive, man. How much you paying for yours? Um, Man, I don't want to, I got a pretty good deal on it, man. But how much you pay for yours? I'm paying like 1,100, man. Like, I love the truck, man, but this payment it's up there. Okay. Yeah, man. I'm actually paying 527. Wait, how? Wait, what? 527? How? Oh, yeah, I lease it. I lease it for 3 years and then I go get something else. Oh, see, that's the difference though. I own this. At the end of my 5 years, I gotta pay on this for 5 years, but then it's gonna be mine. Oh, okay. And then what you gonna do? After I pay it off, I'll probably go get something else. This is what we do. I've seen this thousands of times, y'all. We just literally, y'all gotta see purchasing a car as running a race, big reward at the end. You want to get to the reward stage. In my book, I talk about what the reward stage is. Paid off car, sitting in your driveway. You keep it until the wheels fall off. You pass it down to a family member. That's where you want to get to if you're buying. But if you're not a long-term person and you're not keeping cars that long, you should not be buying them. You're losing thousands compared to a person who is getting great lease deals. So that's why I say, somebody asked, Bonetta asked, should we go from a purchase owning to a lease? Absolutely. Absolutely. If you're not keeping your cars 8 years, you should be looking and saying, okay, what's the point of staying in this car right now when I can go and I can transition to something that will be better and that'll set me up for my long-term strategies? I'm good for 3 years and I'm driving a great car because all leases are brand new. All right, let me put the banner back up. And we will, oh, look, y'all, by the way, car shopping for people that hate car shopping. My book that we've been talking about the whole broadcast, we are rated 4.94 on goodreads.com. I appreciate everybody who's taken the time to rate the book, to review the book. We have 27 reviews. And the book hasn't even been out yet. It's not even officially out, but we're already at a 4.94. So I ask you, after you use it, I'm excited to hear your success story, but I also ask that you will review it. So just download your copy now. Go to deshonsbook.com, or you can scan the QR code on the screen. All right, let's get back to the questions. Oh, if you're on TikTok or Instagram, you can go to my bio and get your copy. All right, let me go to Instagram. All right, let's go to Instagram for our next question. Hold on. Let me put down this question. Okay, so I just closed out a Cars from Home lesson, and here you are live. What's so? Yes, we got a couple people in here in Cars from Home, which is my video library. Of course, I have everything in video form. I just want y'all to have the information. You could get it all for free all over my pages. Any type of video, used cars, leases, they're all over. Or you could get it in one place in the book. I just want y'all to have the information. Certified pre-owned. So I'm about to tear your name up. I'm sorry. Charmel. Okay, Charmel on Instagram as certified pre-owned. So very common concern is thinking, okay, if I'm shopping for a pre-owned car, let me get a certified pre-owned. How do we determine if the additional money that they charge for certified pre-owned is worth it? We got to know, y'all, you could get a great car even if it's not certified. In fact, when we're looking at a used car, these are the things that determine if we're getting a great used car right here. These things determine. First, the title history. We need to look at that title, which means we have to see the Carfax. Listen, watch this. I'm about to give y'all my strategy for getting, this is all in the book, but I'm going to give you my strategy for how we get free Carfaxes. Who's ready? Listen, If y'all want my strategy for how, and I'm going to give it to you, but I just want to build some anticipation. If you want my strategy for how we get free Carfaxes, I want you to type CF for Carfax. CF. You must see the title history of the car. Carfax is the most reputable, the most comprehensive history report. And I hate that they have a little bit of a monopoly on the market, but we can't do anything about it. Now, you also have AutoCheck, which is it's an Experian product, but it doesn't give you the service records. So the first thing, watch this, y'all, we need to see the title, and we want to try to get Carfaxes for free. When we are on these marketplaces, Auto Trader, Cars.com, Car Gurus, Carfax.com, Driveway.com, everywhere there's cars, CarMax, Carvana, we use every single marketplace, y'all, because when you're not looking at the marketplaces, it's like you not looking at Walmart.com, you only shop from Amazon. Wait, why you're not going to check Walmart? No, I really want to do Amazon. You don't, well, what if there's a great deal on Walmart? So we must shop everywhere there are used cars. Now, when you're on these marketplaces, you're either going to see free Carfax underneath the listing, or you're going to say, or it's going to say, click here to buy a Carfax. Before you do that, you want to click on the link where it says, go to the dealer's website, because many dealers have a contract with Carfax. So what happens is they're allowed to pull an unlimited number of Carfaxes on their website within their dealership, but they are not able to put that on the marketplace because the marketplace is not their dealership. So what we do is we'll literally go to the dealer's website, and you will sometimes, at least half the time, you will see underneath the listing free Carfax on the dealer's site. That is how you get around paying for a Carfax most of the time. Now, once you have the Carfax, we are looking, this is all in the book. So you could try to remember this, or you could just get the book, Car Shopping for People That Hate Car Shopping, 7 Steps to Saving Time, Money, and Avoiding Dealerships. You can download your copy in my Instagram bio or my TikTok bio at 75% off. So you ain't even got to worry about remembering this. Or you could go to deshonsbook.com or scan the QR code on the screen. Up to you, but let's continue. So once we see the Carfax, we're looking at the title history. That's going to tell us, is this a frame damage car? Is this a salvage title car? Is this a rental vehicle? All the things we need to know for the quality of the title. Very important. Some people say, Deshone, what else? Should I buy a rental? Should I buy a car that was a rental? It shouldn't be on the top of the list. It shouldn't be in the top of the list. Yes, GMS, of course, that is Lucille Ball. Did I? It shouldn't be on the top of the list. If I get down to my final choice of car, best price, best title history, best service records, and it's a rental car, maybe I'll consider, but it's not at the top. So this is the first thing we're doing. And this goes to, I'm answering the person's question who asked certified pre-owned. Do we need to buy certified pre-owned? We don't. If we are getting a car with a good title history, we now move on to the service records. This is the absolute most important thing on the title to make sure, or on the history report to see if this was a good car. Who's had a car that they bought used and the car broke down on them? Not quite a lemon. If you had a lemon, that's worse. You could put a picture of a lemon if you got the emojis. If you had a lemon, that sucks. I'm just talking about a straight up car that just broke down, like they didn't, transmission went out, head gaskets blew, like, whatever. So, okay, so many of you have experienced this. This sometimes could be avoided by checking the history, the service records, because sometimes we're getting cars that are older cars and we don't know how the person beforehand took care of them. One of the biggest indicators is looking at those service reports. What you want to see on that Carfax, y'all, is multiple service records, oil changes, tire rotations, oil change, scheduled service, scheduled service. If you have seen a Carfax report like that, then the peace of mind you get is incredible. Because that is what tells you the owner took care of the car. So first thing is the title history. Second thing is the service records. Third thing is the accident report. Accident report. Some people are big on, Deshone, I'm not buying a car if it has an accident. That's fine. When you look at these cars, just know you're going to see multiple kinds of accidents. Shout out to the sharers. Thank you for everybody sharing. I see you. I appreciate you. If you have not shared the broadcast yet, I appreciate you sharing. If you want to help us spread this mission and get this information out, thank you for lighting up the likes on TikTok. I see y'all. Thank you so much. So when you are doing, when you look at accidents, they come in really two sizes, like serious accidents and minor accidents. Minor accidents are you backing out of a Walmart parking lot, and somebody taps you. Thanks, Daisy. You know, if you call the cops, that goes on the Carfax. Because anything reported to the insurance companies or anything where the cops are involved, it goes on the Carfax. So you need to be able to assess that. I'm not going to not buy a car because it had that type of an accident. That's a minor accident. Now you'll see sometimes on the Carfax it says severe. Here's the word you want to look for: vehicle drivable. This is all in the book, by the way, for those of you who like Deshone. I love this live. I love this broadcast, but I'm not trying to remember all this. I'm just going to get the book, especially because it's 75% off in my TikTok bio and in my Instagram bio. Scan the QR code or go to deshonesbook.com and get your book. So when you're looking at accidents, if you see vehicle drivable, then that means the vehicle left the scene drivable. That's a good sign. If you see vehicle towed, not a good sign. I would pass on that car. Or just be aware that this vehicle was in an accident. It was so severe the vehicle had to be towed. If you see airbags deployed, that's a more serious sign. So again, I'm not going to tell you, just like with the rental cars, if I go buy a car, should you buy a rental? I'm not going to tell you you shouldn't. I'm going to tell you it shouldn't be high on your list, because it needs to end up being the best value. And it's just like that with a minor accident. Minor accident, I'm not going to run away from it, but it also needs to be less money than the other cars. So I'm not going to pay, you're not going to pay, and I'm not going to counsel you to pay the same price for a car that has a minor accident on it as you would pay for a vehicle that doesn't. But if you get those three things in order, I don't need a certified car. Those three things right there tell us whether the car is a good car, a lot more than them taking it through a certification process where they check, the components on the car and they try to restore them back to their new condition. Because if you could get a car that wasn't serviced and they certify it, it doesn't have those service records that we just talked about. I would place that car lower on the list. Lower on the list. All right. So that's how we judge. What are your thoughts on Mach-E, lease or buy? APR 72 months. Jamal asks, what is my opinion on the Mach-E, lease or buy? So lease or buy is how long you're gonna keep the car. I want y'all to type. Listen, as you come in, let me know how long on average how many years are you going to keep your next car? Come on, let's light up the chat. Everybody who's in the market for a car or will be soon, I want you to throw this out. How many years are you going to keep your next car? Okay, Houston Sage said 14 to 15. Okay, Sony said 3. Okay, Bonetta said 5. Okay, It's World said 3. As you come in, let me know how many years do you plan on keeping your next car. Let's get an idea of what we of our plan. 5 to 10. Okay, I see Connie said 10. Okay, I see Sunshine Valentine said 5 years. Okay, JC said 10. Okay, Jamal Jackson said I'm a keeper. Okay, you got Paul said 4. Okay, so Jamal, ask the question, buy or lease. If your answer to that question that I just asked you begins, if it's 8 or more, then you should be buying your next car. If it's 7 or less, then you should be leasing your next car. I know some of you may have been taught never lease a car. If that was you, type never. If you were taught never lease a car, I want you to type never, because we need to set you free from bad information that you've gotten for way too long. The good thing is I don't have to convince you emotionally. I can actually show you with numbers. Thank you, Dad. I appreciate it. Thank you to the people giving gifts on TikTok. Thank you to everybody sending stars. See, I'm not going to ever tell you you should be leasing based on an emotional decision. I'm going to tell you that I know the numbers. You cannot compare the 2 great lease deals that I just showed you guys on the screen, where one person is paying $527 a month for a $56,000 vehicle, and the young lady Taupe is paying $690 for 50 or something, $52,000 BMW. These are cars that would have had an $1,100 payment, that would have had an $1,000 payment. It's no comparison, because I want to give you all a quick lesson on depreciation. If I buy a car, somebody comes and gives you a car right now. I say, here, come outside, meet me outside. You come out, you say, Deshone, what is this? I say, here, this car is $30,000. It's yours. I park it outside. You say, Deshone, but I don't need a car. I can't use it. I say, listen, it's yours. Nah, but I can't drive it. Okay, well, listen, you do what you want to do with it. Donate it. Now, I come back and see you a year later. When I brought you the car, it was $30,000, right? That's how much it was. That's the value. That's how much it was worth. I come back and see you a year later. Is the car still worth? You didn't drive it. You never touched it. Deshone, I didn't drive it. I couldn't. How much is the car worth? Is it still worth $30,000? Remember, you own it. You didn't lease it. You own it. Thank you, Black. Thank you, JC. No, not even because of mileage, JC. There's no mileage. You didn't drive it. I want y'all. This is a lesson in depreciation, y'all. If you never forget that lesson, if you never forget that, that is what, because people will tell you you don't lease because you want to drive as much as you want to drive. Oh, I like to drive as much as I want to drive, so I don't want to lease. I don't want to pay for mileage. That's what people will say. But if you understand that your car loses value, which means you lose money every single day, whether you own it or lease it, now you're starting to see how you can understand leasing. Whether I buy my car or not, if my car is sitting out there for 2 days, it is worth less in 2 days than it's worth today. Might be $25 less. It doesn't matter. It's worth less, right? Whether I put them out. Now, if I go drive this car, let's just say today, I drive this car right now, 24 hours. I drive straight to Florida for 24 hours. I put, round trip, 2 days. I come back, put 3,000 miles on my car. Isn't it worth less in 2 days, right? Why? Because I just depreciated it more. And depreciation it controls my equity. It controls what my asset is worth. So stop believing people when they say things like a car isn't an investment. It might not be an investment you make money on, but if you were going to sell your car tonight, for $20,000, and daggone a tree falls on the car right now, is that car worth $20,000 tomorrow? Right? Now you'll see. It's reduced. So this is how we have to look at cars. We have to really realize that whether I buy that thing or whether I lease it, I am paying for what I use. Here's what we're doing when we're leasing, though. We're saying to ourselves, can I lease and pay less in depreciation over a 3-year period than if I purchased? Got bad news for a lot of people. They bought cars that ended up being on the worst depreciated car list in history. Cadillac Escalade was one of them at one point. It may not be there now, but a few years ago, Cadillac Escalade was on the top 10 greatest depreciating cars. What does that mean? That means you bought one for 90, in 3 years, it was worth 50. You lost $40,000 or more of value in 3 years. They were even saying it was really losing half of its value in 3 years. So if you purchase that truck, there's nothing you can do. This is what we're doing when we're leasing. In the short term, we're trying to hedge against depreciation. We're trying to say, if I get a great lease deal on this vehicle, I'm protected against depreciation, normal depreciation. You saw what Taupe is paying for her BMW. Had she bought that BMW, she would not have been able to pay that small amount of money over 3 years and protect against the normal depreciation of the vehicle. Now, had a person leased that Escalade, paid maybe $30,000, $35,000, maybe they paid $1,200 a month, maybe they paid $36,000 for the truck over a 3-year period. Maybe they paid, but they pay less than had they bought it. And the beautiful thing about a lease is, let's just say the vehicle doesn't lose value. Let's say it's on the top 10 list of vehicles that hold their value the most. We'll just sell it at the end and we'll cash out the equity. So leasing gives you an opportunity to protect against the depreciation of the vehicle. And if the vehicle doesn't depreciate, or if it holds its value better than normal cars, we can sell the lease at the end and put that money in our pocket. Beautiful. So you lease if you're not keeping your car 8 years, you purchase if you are keeping your next car 8 years. If you go with those rules, you're gonna win. Thank you. I appreciate it. All right, so this is priceless information. This is all in the book. If you just jumped on, this is all in my new book, Car Shopping for People That Hate Car Shopping. I break this down in steps, 7 steps to saving time, money, and avoiding dealerships. This is a system. None of this is guesswork for me. This is a system, and I would like y'all to use it. So get your book, 75% off. Get yours in my TikTok bio or my Instagram bio, or you could scan the QR code on the screen or go to deshonesbook.com while it's 75% off. Okay, so this is beautiful. Yeah, we still got hundreds of people on here, so let's just keep it going. I currently have a Kia Sorento. I'm trading it. It's way too much to deal with, even though it's paid off. That's fine, as long as you know whether you're leasing or buying your next car. Don't go, and when you say it's too much to deal with, are you saying that because it's having issues? If it's having issues, then we just make sure, y'all, before we get too happy about cars sometimes, we must go to Google. I'm going to show y'all something real quick. Let me share my screen. Let me show y'all. Hold on. Let me see if I can share my screen. All right, here we go. So this is what we do. This is how simple it is to do a reliability check on a car. And you take 3 minutes. You do this any car you want to look at, any car you're considering. You go right to Google. let's say I'm looking at a 2020, Nissan Altima. I'm going to type this in, 2020 Nissan Altima reliability. And then I'm going to look at the first couple articles. Now look at this, 2020 Nissan Altima. You got to put in the year that you're looking for. 2020 Nissan Altima predicted reliability score of 79. That's not great. That's not great. And here's the thing, reliability is the first 3 years of the vehicle's life. You want to skim the first couple articles and see what they're saying about this car. You know how many people out here right now that are in the market for or are buying a 2020 Nissan Altima and don't realize that the reliability rating is a 79? And we're going to go deeper. After we do reliability, you now change that to longevity. Longevity. Look, now in terms of mileage and overall lifespan, you expect somewhere between 250 and 300,000, but you want to pay attention to the year. And look at this. It's on a dealer's website. You got to know where the information is coming from. We're looking for a third-party site. We're looking for a vehicle history. JD Power can be good sometimes. You want to skim these, and you want to just click on anything that alerts you. Anything that alerts you. Sometimes you'll see vehicles known for transmission issues, vehicles known for electrical issues, yada, yada. You must do this. And then for those of you who are buying a new car or leasing a new car, here's what you're going to type in. You're going to type, you don't need to do longevity if you're leasing. Doesn't matter. Longevity is 7, 8, 10 years down the road, what they're saying about the engine and all of that. But you want to do 2020 Maserati Ghibli. You want to type in initial quality. Initial quality is your first 90 days. And you want to skim that. That's when people get this car. What are they saying about this car in the first 90 days that they have it? That's initial quality. So if that car is in the shop, if that car is having issues, if the technology is difficult to use or understand, that's stuff that's going to show on these three things. So that's how you check, y'all, to protect these small things that I'm showing you. These things don't take time. It don't take a lot of time. It takes 5 minutes to check initial quality report, longevity reports, and reliability report. It takes 20 minutes to do an equity assessment to see which cash buyer is going to pay the most for your car, which cash buyer is going to pay the most for your lead. Can we keep running those likes up on TikTok? It's crazy how many likes we got. I appreciate it. Can y'all just keep tapping the screen as you come in? And shout out to the sharers. Appreciate everybody. That stuff. See, so it's not that you're not doing things that are costing you money because you just don't want to do them or because they take a lot of time. That's not the reason you haven't been doing these things. The reason is you haven't known to do these things. That's the difference. You haven't known to do these things. So what you're going to learn from me is all over my videos, I don't hold back any information. You see all over my videos, they're all for all the info. But the thing about the videos is they're for different people. Some of you, your next vehicle, you're going to lease it. Some of you, your next vehicle, you're going to purchase it. Some of you, your next vehicle, you're going to purchase it and you need a loan. Some of you, your next vehicle, you're going to purchase it and it's going to be pre-owned. So some of you, your next vehicle, you're a high mileage driver. If you're a high mileage driver, you drive more than 20,000 miles a year, type HM for high mileage. If you drive more than 20,000 miles per year, type HM for high mileage. Oh, let me go back to it. So all of you who are high mileage, I don't know why we get kicked out of Instagram. Okay. I think we got kicked out of Instagram. Let's see. Are we still? Okay. So if you're a high mileage driver, you'll see some videos in there for you. So the reason why I said I don't want y'all going through all the videos is because I know that those videos are for like 16 different types of people. And I don't want you getting confused saying, wow, is this for me? Oh, no, he's talking about leasing in this video. Oh, is this for me? Oh, no, this is for high mileage people. But when you get the book, get your book 75% off. Normal price is $97. You go get it for $24. You get it for 75% off, and you use it immediately. And you're going to see that there's a path just for you if you want all the information in one spot. So it's up to you. I'm always going to give all the information, but if you want it all in one spot, then go download your copy of Car Shopping for people that hate car shopping. All right, let's see. All right, we'll do a couple more before we jump. Let's go. Purchase by from dealership. You own the equity in that vehicle. Hold on, I'm trying to see which question. Initial quality. It's not the initial quality report. I just skimmed through the website. I skimmed through what the third-party website said. How do we get one-on-one consultation? I don't do one-on-one consultations. I do have a video version of my book called Cars from Home University. It's a visual library where instead of it being in text, instead of being written, it's in step-by-step videos. And then I have people that I work with in my coaching program who are in that, but I don't do one-on-one. Hold on. Let me know if y'all can still hear me. I get a lot better results coaching hundreds of people at one time. And I found like your situation is not special. That is really to say that I have worked with so many people. There's only about 16 different situations in car buying. So although you might think, oh, I got a special case, Deshone, I really need like no, you don't. You don't. I have every path that anyone could need to get a car, no matter what their starting point is. And your situation is not special. I promise you. That's why I'm able to coach groups and lots of people at once, and they're able to get results, because this is a lot of you are in the exact same situation as each other. Perfect. Do you need gap insurance on lease vehicles? Elrod, great question. Now most leases used to include gap insurance, but you never want to assume it, because Chase a couple years ago, when they were doing Mazda's leases, out of nowhere they just snatched the gap insurance from being included. I think it was Chase. So you want to make sure that whenever you are getting a lease offer, you are asking them to include gap insurance. They might say, oh, gap is already included. That's fine. But make sure, because sometimes they'll actually try to tell you about it later, and you'll say, wow, and I thought it was included. No, they stopped including it, and now it's $250, or it's extra, it's an extra $18 a month, So make sure when you are getting your offers, you are always getting it with gap insurance. Whenever we send, like, we do this by email. So those of you who are using the book, doing this by email allows you to keep everything organized. We don't use our personal email, but we always, when you send my template, it says on there, please make sure you include gap insurance. It also says, please only give us quotes with first month's payment out of pocket. No down payments. No, sometimes they don't listen and you got to rewrite them, but we have the scripts. So in my book are a bunch of scripts. So you don't have to figure out what you're going to say. I'm telling you what to say. But what you should be letting them know is to always include gap insurance in your lease quotes at all times, just in case it's not. Where can you find zero due at signing leases? There's no zero. You could get zero due at signing with any lease. The money you see in marketing commercials, those are not real. Those are just crafted, customized offers. They're not deals. None of those commercials that y'all see about leasing a car is a deal. Like, these are great deals are not advertised. When you saw what Tope was paying for her car, you saw what Greg is paying for his vehicle. I'm going to show y'all, like, whenever you see somebody who's getting a deal, if I told them how to get a deal, that's not a deal that would ever be on a commercial. That's not a deal that would ever be even public. That's a deal probably one manager knew about and said, man, we ain't making no money on this. All right, go ahead. Let's go ahead and get the deal done. And he just reluctantly wanted to do it, didn't want to do it, but said, all right, let me do it. That's a deal. Everybody in the place ain't getting deals. They're just paying regular prices. And most of you, once you start getting bids the way I teach, once you step out of the old way of car shopping, you'll see that some of you weren't getting deals in the past. You were really just paying the regular prices. Okay, we need to guarantee we are getting deals, and we need to guarantee we are paying less than everyone. But when it comes to zero down, no problem. We get zero down. All of these people that you're going to see as I share with you, there's not many people that have learned from me that have put money down on a lease. Sometimes if you can get the lease deal at the price you want with no money down, do it. But there is a place for down payments. We used to lease S classes out, and sometimes we get a crazy deal, and it'd be like $1,200 a month. $1,200 a month on an S class back then was ridiculous. It's $20,000 vehicle. So it was $1,200 a month was ridiculous. And then you'll look and say, what if I can't afford $1,200? Or what? Not even I can't afford it. I don't want my payment to be $1,200. So what I'll do is I'll put a couple thousand down. I'll bring my payment down to $999. I'll bring my payment down to $900, whatever. As long as I verify I got a deal first. What you're going to learn from me, those of you who have my book and those who are watching the videos, you will learn we never put a down payment down until after we've already confirmed we got a great deal. Once you confirm you got a great deal, that's when you can put down payments down to lower your payment. But down payment has nothing to do with your deal. It has nothing to do with if you got a deal. Oh, I got a deal, man. How you know? And I ain't have to put no money down. That's not a deal. I'm sorry to tell you. The deal is, I shop multiple dealers for this car. One dealer wanted to charge me this. One dealer wanted to charge me this. This dealer took off $3,000. This dealer took off $5,000. And then I went with this dealer that took off $6,000. He beat everybody. That's a deal. And that is what comes through bidding. That is what I want for everybody. That's the present of car shopping. If you're shopping any other way, you're shopping like caveman style. Not gonna lie, reflecting back on it, I'd rather get a home before my dream car. Nothing more to it. Listen, be wise. Treat buying cars like a small home, and you'll make a lot better decisions all times. Just got my book. Thank you, Coconut Fred. I appreciate it. Enjoy it. Use it. I can't wait to see your success story. It has everything in there you need to save money on all your car purchases. For you, your family, doesn't matter if you're purchasing, leasing, used car, new car, it's in there. High mileage driver, whatever situation you find yourself in, it's going to lead you through it. If I bought a car in 2000 and they just recently repossessed it, what can I do about that? You bought a car in 2000, maybe you meant 2020. If you've missed the opportunity to get it back, then it's gone. All you could do is try to rebuild from this point on, and rebuilding is going to be uncomfortable because there's really two reasons we lose cars besides an emergency, besides a hardship. A real hardship is my job loss, God forbid somebody passed away. That is a real hardship. But the two reasons why we're losing cars is because we buy over budget. That could be our fault, could be somebody else's fault who helped us do the deal, it could be both. And we're not getting quality cars. And sometimes that happens both. So if you bought a car and you knew my budget was 500 and dag, I'm paying 600. I can't, this 600 is tight. That could hurt you. If you bought a car and you're under your budget, but the car has problems, which means we didn't get a quality car. It is very important that we get the best car our money can buy. Because when we don't, we're here and we got a car we could afford, but the car is giving us problems. Now the whole plan is ruined. The whole plan, I was going to keep this car for a while. I wanted to just pay it off. You know how many people, some of you may have experienced it. Have you ever had a car that you was planning on keeping, you had no desire to change it, and then all of a sudden the car started messing up? If you understand that, that's the second reason why people lose cars. Cars acting up. So we got to get a quality car, and we have to buy a car below our budget. That is the key to not losing these cars, because sometimes they both hit you at once. You daggone in a car and it's having problems and it's over budget. That is the repo recipe. That's really, so all you can do if you're in a situation now is go to Shonda Martin, wherever you're at, follow her, and start rebuilding your credit. And whatever car you get should be an inexpensive car. If you are rebuilding your credit, you're going to pay more. If you need a car right now, you're going to pay more in interest. But if you go too crazy and you want to go out and drive a $20,000, $30,000 car, they're going to bury you, because you're coming in with a repo, desperate in need of a car, and they're going to sense that, and you can't control your financing like someone with good credit can. And you could get bids. When you got good credit, you could get bids from lenders. You could get bids from 10, 20, 30 lenders. That's what I'm going to show y'all how to do. That's what's in the book. You can't do that with bad credit. So you're limited. So if you're limited, the best thing for you to do is to go small, buy the least expensive car you could get a loan on to get yourself from point A to point B, $8,000 car, $10,000 car, small as you can, forget all the amenities, and get the newest car, the best car you could get, and then you drive that for 2 years, you rebuild your credit, and then in 2 years you could go and get yourself a lease. You could go do what you want to do. But you need something. You need to rebuild your credit. And while you're rebuilding your credit, what should I be driving? It's time to sacrifice. This is not the time to go and pull the new SUV off the lot. Or, oh, you know what? I really need an SUV. I'm going to get this one, blah, blah, blah. This is not the time to do a deal where on that paperwork it says $20,000 or 25 or 30. This is not the time. This is the time where that paperwork should say $10,000 loan. You should be getting a Toyota Corolla, smallest car you could get. You pay for size, so you should be getting the smallest car you could get. So that I'm gonna just get me a 4 or 5 or 6-year-old car. Hopefully, I could get it for like 10 grand, because it was only 22 when it was new. It was only 22,000 when it was new, so it ain't gonna be 17,000 pre-owned. It's 17,000 pre-owned when it was 40, 50 grand new. No, we want a small car, point A to point B. This is your car to rebuild. And if you do that, you can set yourself up with a great foundation. If you don't, you can end up like a lot of people. Bad credit, go get me a nice car. I'm going to have a 22% interest rate. I'm overpaying for the car because they know I want it. So I'm not even getting a great price on the car. I'm getting banged out on the interest. And this is just a financial ruin. This is financial ruin. 2 years from now, I'm no closer to being able to rebuild. I got a high car payment. Again, it's a perpetual cycle of horrible financial decisions. So Dave said, get that SUV. You only live once. Just kidding. Absolutely, man. Yeah, Shonda is awesome. Anybody when it comes to credit, I send them to Shonda Martin. She's on any platform that you're watching on. Road to 750 plus. All right, so this is what we do, y'all. 75% off. Get your book. Enjoy it. Use it. Car shopping for people that hate car shopping. You can see here, if you didn't see earlier when I showed it, we are already rated 4.94 on Goodreads.com. We got 27 reviews. So if you have read it, if you have used it, if you're watching this, I would love for you to review it so that more people can find it. And it is a strategy guide. It is the strategy guide that you need to go and save thousands and thousands of dollars on any car you're going to be getting, and to have the warnings of what not to do. So you go to deshonsbook.com or scan the QR code. John, how do I get the book? You could go to TikTok bio, Instagram bio, click the picture of me. You won't leave the broadcast, and just click the link and you'll see get book 75% off. Or you can scan the QR code, or you can go to deshonsbook.com. Should I be afraid to pay cash for a new car? If you're not keeping it 8 years, absolutely. If you're keeping it more than 8 years, no, definitely not. Just make sure you get a lot of offers, because depending on if you're going to do it the manual way, I call it. When we do it, we use websites. If you're going to do it the manual way, then make sure you're getting one price from one dealer. Do not sit down and have a long conversation. You get one price, and then you're going to you're going to call five. You want to speak to at least 5 sales managers. You want to get at least 5 other offers. You have no idea how expensive and overpriced some dealers are until you start getting these offers. Some people are going to say, oh man, I'll do 42. And then some people are going to say, oh, I'll do 40. Some people are going to say, oh, I'll do 46. And you're going to be like, wow, why are these prices so different? Because some dealers, 80%, will try to take your head off. You have to sort and find the 20%. But yeah, if you're paying cash and you're shopping effectively and you're keeping the car 8+ years, good strategy. If you're not keeping it 8 years, you should be leasing. You're going to overpay. Bro, can you post a good lease deal on a car? I just showed it. If you're on, if you're not subscribed to YouTube, I would tell y'all go type Deshone the Auto Advisor and subscribe on YouTube, because that's where you're able to see different things. We got a different view on YouTube than we do on TikTok. So, all right, y'all. I think that's it. Well, we'll be back. We'll be back. This is the photo booth chick said, loving this info. I could hear your passion. Go ahead and take a bow and a drink. Thank you. I appreciate it. Listen, all I care about is making sure that when y'all post these car deals, y'all show me these car deals, y'all are like excited to show me. I don't care about your new car unless you're showing me the deal. Everybody that you'll follow and everybody who you'll see that post, oh, I got a new car, I'm excited. They're excited about the car. When y'all use this stuff that I'm showing you, you're going to be just as excited about the price you pay. That's why when you come into my group, this is a group that I have here. We share our numbers. That's where I won't share it right now. We share our numbers. And I want y'all understanding the numbers, seeing the offers, so that you could say, yo, not only did I get this car, look at the price. Look at the dealer who won the bid, how much lower they were than everybody else. Look at the bank that won the bid. Man, my bank wanted to give me this. My credit union wanted to give me this. But then I turned around and I let the dealer see if he could beat it. And he shopped his bank, and then he beat my credit union. See, bids allow you to sit and win without even trying, because all of these people are now working for you to win your business, versus you thinking, oh, I got to beg them to please sell me a car. Please give me a loan. Please do all this. No, you're the prize. All right. Yes, follow Shonda Martin, lovely loves. Shonda Martin is her name. All right. Do you think it's a dumb idea to buy an expensive car, whether you can afford it or not? If you can buy, it's a financially dumb idea to buy a vehicle if you're not keeping it 8 years, because you're going to overpay. If you could afford a luxury vehicle, of course, get it. And I think whether people want to buy it or lease it, there's absolutely nothing wrong with driving luxury vehicles if you can afford them. But you need to be able to afford them. You need to be able to afford the payment for them. You need to be able to afford the insurance for them. You need to be able to afford the maintenance for them. That is your oil changes, your brake fluid changes, your brake pad changes, and all your brakes and rotors. That's maintenance. And then you need to be able to afford when something goes wrong on the cars and you don't have a warranty. And that's where when I was at Mercedes, you have no idea how many times someone would come from the service department looking like they were almost in tears. And I'm like talking to them, and they're like, man, I just made my payment earlier this month. And then I had to come in, I had to get the brakes done. That cost me $2,000. Then I had to come in, and they telling me the navigation system, something with the computer. And I'm like, oh, the warranty's done? Yeah, the warranty's done. They say it's going to cost me $2,000 to fix the navigation. So I'm putting out $5,000. That is truly able to afford a luxury car. If you can't comfortably do that, you should not be buying a Bentley. You shouldn't be buying a Benz. If you're not ready for that, then you can lease it. And then you can lease it. Because that's what comes with long-term ownership. And if you're gonna buy a Benz or BMW, Audi, any vehicle with high maintenance, and expensive parts, you can keep it long term and win, but just realize there comes a point in time where there's no warranty, and anything that happens on the car, you're on the hook for it. So you better have cash. They're truly for people with cash. That's what they're for. That's what a luxury car is made for. And if that's not you, then there's nothing wrong with leasing these cars. If that's it. It's nothing wrong with leasing these cars. It's a great deal. Is it wise to purchase the extended warranty with a luxury vehicle? And in a lot of cases, it is. If you check and see that it's a car that has expensive maintenance, absolutely, absolutely. A lot of times it is. Because if I'm buying a car, whenever I had a customer back then when I was working at Mercedes, if they were buying a Mercedes and I had asked them how long they're keeping it, and they said, man, I'm keeping it I'm keeping it for the long run, man, 8, 10 years, 12 years, because they'll come in, they might have their old one with them. They might have one that they've already had for 12 years already, and they just swapping it out. So I say, listen, buy as much warranty as you can afford, because the key, what you want to try to do with a luxury car, that is a luxury car with high maintenance, is you want to try to get to the point where the car, by the time the warranty runs out, the car should be almost paid off. And if you if you buy a 4-year warranty, and then you have, and I wouldn't buy an old one, because an old one, you ain't gonna have no warranty. But people buy old ones to try to see, because the old one is 17,000. You get what I'm saying? The one with the warranty that has 2 years of warranty left, that's 34,000. And I ain't got 34, but I'm gonna get this one at 17. That means you can't afford the car. Because if you can't afford to buy a quality one, you can't afford the car. Very, very important with these luxury cars that we truly recognize that if I'm gonna lease it, or if I'm gonna buy one of these things, I'm keeping it, but I gotta know what comes with that. And the best way to set myself up for success, the best way is to get a newer one that has some warranty left, 1 year, 2 years, buy additional warranty so that you leave out of there with at least 3 or 4 years of warranty. And now your loan might be 5 or 6 years. So hopefully you're only out there for a year or two with no warranty. But that's not what usually happens. A lot of people, they're leaving with 6-year loans right from the get-go. No warranty on the old one, 6-year loan. So now that thing's hitting. They got the car payment, they got the insurance, then stuff is breaking. They got the maintenance from day one. That's how they end up hating the car. If you ever hear anybody and they're like, never buy a Benz, they're trash, that's probably the route they went. The Red Noob said, you just answered my question. Perfect. All right, that's great. Well, listen, I will tap back in. We'll be back. And I will see y'all on the next broadcast. But this is what we do. Make sure you are following. So make sure you're subscribed so that when I'm live, you do get the notification and you could jump on. And we'll continue to keep asking. We'll continue to keep answering your question. Thank you to everybody that got the book, Car Shopping for People That Hate Car Shopping. It is officially launched. This is my official book launch, and I'll be doing these Q&As. You can get yours for 75% off. Download it immediately. You could be using it literally in 5 minutes. Just go to deshonesbook.com or scan the QR code on the screen, or you can go to my Instagram bio, click the picture of me, go to my TikTok bio, click the picture of me, click that website link, and click and hit the one that says get your 75% off. So use the book, enjoy it, win with it, and I'll see y'all on the next broadcast. God bless y'all. And then if you are shopping for a car now or in the next 12 months, I want you to type me in the comments. All right, so we know who we're talking to. And Instagram. All right, Instagram. I see Instagram log this out again because I switched from the screen. We're just getting used to this. But as you come in, if you are shopping for a car now or in the next 12 months, just type me. And I want to know, because I want to talk specifically to y'all. If you're shopping for a car, after that, that's fine. But I want to talk specifically to the people who are shopping now. Now, after you let us know if you're shopping, I want you to check in. Where we at? Where are we at today? Let me know where you are in the country. I like to do a roll call, check in. Where are we at in the country? Good to see you, Calvin. Good to see you, Catrella. Good to see you, Charlicia. Steeler Nation, St. Louis in the building. I see you. Okay. Hold on. Let me go here. TikTok. All right. Where y'all at? Let's okay. I see Dallas, Texas. I see Tampa. Hold on. I'm trying to see every Chicago, Illinois, VA Beach, Utica. I see you. Check in. Where we at today? Where we at this afternoon, evening, morning? Come on in. All right, we got the whole country on here. And we got the whole country on here. All right, I want to welcome y'all to Car Q&A with me, Deshone the Auto Advisor. As you come in, if you could spend a minute or two with us, 5-10 minutes, an hour, you're gonna get a lot of value out of it. We're getting ready to do some rapid fire Q&A, and we're gonna be answering all types of questions about car shopping and what you need to know to make sure you're saving thousands on your next car and every car you get after that. So as you come in, if you're not subscribed, if you're not following, you will benefit from hitting that follow button. You will benefit from hitting the subscribe button, because we're going to be doing this live show pretty regularly to make sure that you guys have access to all the information. So before we get into Q&A, I want to give people time to come in. I also want to finish up the housekeeping. My new digital book, Car Shopping for People That Hate Car Shopping, is now officially released. We are doing a 75% off sale. It's normally $97. It's a digital book. It has links to videos. It has links to my scripts. There's no guesswork in this, y'all. I want to give y'all a process that y'all can use for the rest of your life without having to worry about, I want y'all to be able to guarantee a success. So if you're on Instagram, you can go to the Instagram bio. You won't leave the broadcast. Get your 75% off, because it's only available for a few minutes at 75% off. TikTok bio, and then Facebook and Instagram. Y'all can go to deshonsbook.com, or you can scan the QR code. So let's go. Let's get your questions going. I want y'all to enjoy using that book. Get your 75% off and enjoy not reading it, enjoy using it. All right. So let me see. Let's start bringing in some comments. Where's our first question? Do I have to get financing? Oh, by the way, in a few minutes, y'all, I'm going to be giving y'all a very, very deep look into a game that's going to help you understand leasing versus buying. So in about 5-10 minutes, we'll start that game, and you're going to love it. You'll never be confused on whether leasing or purchasing is going to save you more money after we play this. Do I have to get financing to lease a car? No, you don't. Whenever we lease a car, we are always using the dealer's financing department, their companies, the bank that makes the car. And because we can't shop for our own financing, how do we make sure that they're not marking up the interest rate on the lease? Multiple offers. There's no way for you to make sure they're not marking up the interest rate on the lease without multiple offers. That is what reveals the true deals when you're shopping for a lease. So there's no interest rate to shop for, but we must protect against interest rate markups with multiple offers, because some dealers will mark up the interest rate and never tell you. They'll just give you the quote, and they're depending on you not shopping their competition to find out that they marked up the interest rate on the lease. All right. So when you get your offers, it's always with multiple offers. Shout out to the sharers. Shout out to everybody who's sharing the broadcast. If this is your first time on a live with me here, just type 1. Type the number 1 if this is your first time on a live. I'm near the end of a 3-year lease. Is it best to buy the vehicle or lease another? It's very rarely best to buy. Very rarely. Shout out to the first time viewers. Good to see y'all. Very rarely, if ever, good to buy your lease. I'm going to tell y'all why. Because when you buy your lease, you're buying a used car. When you buy your lease, you are buying a used car. That's all that's happening. So, being that you are buying a used car, you need to know if would I normally buy a used car versus leasing. And the only way it makes sense to buy your lease out is if you're keeping the car another 8 years. I'm going to tell you why. You've already had the car for 3 years. You've already had the car for 3 years. Most people, when you buy your lease out, you're getting another 5 or 6 year loan for the balance. So you're committing to 8 or 9 years of payments on the same car. This spills into bad lease deals the reason we don't take 48 months leases on a lease, because we're paying too long on a vehicle that we're giving back. We never want to be tied up long term in a vehicle we're giving back. That's the whole point. Leasing is meant to be 3 years, 39 months, sometimes 2 years, depending on what they're offering, in and out, switching cars very fast, always under warranty, keeping our payments low. Okay. Can y'all light up TikTok with the likes? Can y'all continue to tap the screen on TikTok? I see we got a few hundred people. We got about 400 people on total, all the broadcast. Could you actually hit that share button? Because I promise you, y'all, no one will ever get mad at you for sharing my page with them. I guarantee you that. In fact, my goal is to get them to thank you. Hey, thank you for sharing that. I like that guy's stuff. We try not to waste any time here. What about paying cash? VJ Live said, let me put this question up on the screen. If you're on, make sure you're subscribed on YouTube so y'all can see the whole thing, the presentation, when we share these numbers. We can't do that on Instagram and TikTok. So VJ Live said, what about paying cash? I have about 15,000 and I don't want payments, but they keep trying to push me to 20-25 grand range so I can have payments. Here's the thing. If you can find a quality car for 15 grand, great. If it's going to force you to buy something that's not, who's heard you always pay cash for a car? If, as you come in, thank you, Godhead. Shout out to the sharers. I see y'all. Who's heard always pay cash for a car? Type me in the comments. If you've heard always pay cash for a car, type me in the comments. I see y'all lighting up. Keep tapping the screen on TikTok. We appreciate it. Y'all lighting up the likes. Y'all can see where we at on the likes in the top left. Who's heard always pay cash? Right? 5150 times heard it. VJ Live said, heard it all my life. Now listen, bunch of Dave Ramsey advice. Now here's the real. Here's what I'm just telling y'all. We got a bunch of people on here, hundreds of you all say, yes, I've heard you pay cash for cars. Now there's two schools of thought here. One is no debt. Now if your philosophy is no debt, I'm not here to convince you to change your philosophy. Here's what I'm here to talk to you about. If your philosophy is I want to do what makes the most financial sense, then we'll have that conversation. Because people who could pay cash for cars and don't, they typically are making money on their money. When I was in the dealership, people would come in, they would ask, what are the interest rates this month? If the interest rates were 0%, something special like 0%, 1%, 2%, 3%, if they knew that they were getting 10, 15, 20% returns on their money, they're not going to put it in a car. They're going to use the bank's money at 1, 2, 3%, and they're going to use their money to keep making 10, 12, 15, 20%. That's the philosophy. So they view that as, I'll pay 3%. They view it more as a business transaction than as a leveraging money to make more money. See, some people will tell y'all people who don't pay cash for cars, they're into debt. But I'm here to tell you that when I sat with very, very savvy people in my career with Mercedes and General Motors, I had tons of people who could easily have wrote a check for the car. I want you to know that if your goals are to eventually get into making more money with your money, investing your money, getting 10%, 12%, 8%, trying to beat inflation, then you're going to have a problem putting your cash into cars. Because not only, if let's say we park right now, this is just as answering VJ Live's question, because I got it up on the screen here on YouTube and Facebook. He's asking about paying cars. And many of you, as you sit on the show, you'll see, Dad, that's a similar question. Many of you will see someone's going to ask the same question you have. When we start seeing that we can actually use the bank's money for less, we're gonna realize that when you put $20,000 of your hard-earned cash into a car, that money cannot make you more money. That $20,000 that you just put in the car cannot make you more money. You have maxed out the value of that $20,000. It's in a car, you can't pull it out. You could refinance, but that's not happening. You're going to refinance and just get another loan. The point is your money's in that car now. So had you had an opportunity to invest that 20 and make 8%, 10%, 6%, 12%, that's what the people who don't pay cash for cars who are wise are doing. I'm not telling you there's a difference. Look, I talk a lot about budgeting. I talk a lot about affordability. All through my book, I have systems and boundaries. The rule of 72 and the 10th birthday, how long of a loan you take, how much, when should the car be paid off? That's all in my book. You can get it 75% off, or you can watch my videos. I'm going to always teach it. But if you want it all in one place right here, get the book, 75% off. It's in my TikTok or Instagram bio. But that's what we got to know. We got to know if we're going to use leverage and use the bank's money, there are extremes of leverage. There is over leverage. And we cannot be over leveraged. That means we're taking a loan that's too much, too long, we just want to borrow to try to afford a car. And you see this a lot with older cars, people buying luxury cars that they really can't afford because, brand new, the car is 80 grand. But if they get a 10-year-old one and they get a 5-year loan, now they're in a 2013 AMG Mercedes with 90,000 miles on it. So that's the opposite extreme. Using leverage and loans to buy things we can't afford. But then the other opposite extreme is paying cash when we don't have to. Finding that balance between getting the car we want, getting the best car we can afford, because you said, hey, I'm trying to find a car for 15 grand. I can't find it. They want me to spend 20, 25. Well, the name of the game is you better learn how to find if there's any cars out there for 15, you better learn how to find them. And you look everywhere, you look over all the marketplaces, and before you raise your budget up to 2025, we have something we do called the perfect budget. You got to go to 17 first. You don't go from 15 to 2025. You go from 15 to 17. See if I can find anything good for 17. Oh, I can't. All right, now I go to 19. And I have this calculator that's going to help you guys inside the book. It's called the Perfect Budget Calculator. You put in the money you have, you put in what you want your payment to be. It's going to tell you how much car you can buy. You put in your state, so we could have. How many times y'all walk in, right? And you're like, man, I want to spend 25 grand on a car, but you forgot to factor in taxes and the fees. How many times does that happen? Type ouch if you've ever dealt with that. Let's be willing to be honest. You had a budget in your mind. This is what I want my monthly payment to be. This is what I want to spend on the car. Next thing you know, you're a little over that budget, or sometimes a lot over that budget, and you're leaving like, all right, I see you, 919 Mike. Thank you. I see you, Mika Larkin. Shout out to everybody willing to be honest. See, in order for us to really make sure we don't make these mistakes, we got to be honest of the fact we've made them. So that's what we want to do. We want a budgeting system that tells us when we can. You spend any more than this, and you're going to be over your budget. You said you want a payment of $400 a month. That means you said you only got $1,000 to put down, or nothing to put down. Here's what you can spend on a car. And when you use this perfect budget calculator, you're going to never go over budget. Because honestly, y'all, we don't want to be anywhere near our top of our budget. We want to be shopping under our budget. That's where I want y'all. Under your budget. That's why I said if your budget was 15 and then your max might be 2025 with a loan, all right, we got to go from 15 to 17 to 17.5 to 18. We don't just jump to 2025. But we need a methodical system to do that, to help us do that. How do I get out of an upside down lease? Jose, you can only sell out of it. That's all you could do. You could sell out of it. No matter what, y'all, who's in a car that they want to replace and they think they're upside down? They may have some negative equity. This is all in the book. I would really like y'all, the reason why I'm doing the 75% off, couple reasons. The book just officially came out. But I really want y'all not having to remember this. Yes, this live rebroadcast is going to be syndicated. So no matter when you're watching it, the information is going to be valuable and applicable. But I really want y'all to have the book so that you can actually reference the information over and over again. Thank you, B-Bad. Thank you for this info. Thank you, SJF Racing. So, all right. Yes, 25 goes to 30 real fast. Let me show y'all something, and then we'll continue. This is where we are right now on Goodreads.com. We're rated 4.94. We've already received 27 reviews, 31 ratings, and the book hasn't been out yet. So if you go to goodreads.com, if you're on YouTube, if you're on Facebook, you can see what I'm posting. But I'm sharing the fact we're already rated 4.94, 31 ratings, and the book hasn't come out yet. So now that it's officially out, I really want y'all to have it. And so make sure you take advantage. Get your 75% off. It's normally $97, but while you're watching here, it's 75% off. Everything I teach is in there in one place, so you don't have to remember it. All right. If you have it, let's talk to the people who are in an upside down lease or upside down loan. First of all, we don't want to be there. I'm gonna tell y'all why. If you're in an upside down lease, that means you didn't pick your mileage correctly. That means something happened, because with a lease, you have to have predictable miles. You have to know how much you're going to drive roundabout. You got to be able to guesstimate. That's why if you're running a Turo business, when you're trying to rent the car out for, 40,000 miles a year, or you don't know how much it's going to be on that car. Could be 20, could be 40. A lease is not good because you can't predict the mileage. But in normal life, we can predict our mileage very closely. Now, when things happen, let's say you were working at home, and now all of a sudden you are, you're not working from home anymore. Now you got to drive into the office to 20 miles away. Well, that's a lifestyle change. That can lead to you racking up mileage penalties. But here's what we don't want to do. You don't want to buy that car, y'all. I'm gonna tell you why. Every time you lease, you have a price that you can buy the car for. Most times it ain't worth that. Yes, in the last couple of years, we saw a couple cases where, the buyout prices were good. Before the pandemic, the buyout prices usually were nowhere near what you could get a comparable used car for. So if your car was 3 years old with 36,000 miles on it, the prices they were putting was to make you not buy the car, was to make you send it back to them so that they can handle it and resell it. So if the price wasn't worth it to begin with 36,000 miles, I've seen people, you go over your miles and you're like, I'm over the miles, I'm just going to buy it. The price wasn't worth it with good mileage. The price wasn't worth, if you had 36,000 miles, that car wasn't worth you buying for the buyout price. You actually have 48,000 miles and they want you to pay the same price for it. So it's important that if we have to deal with penalties because we didn't structure the lease correctly, or because we didn't quite know what we were going to be driving, or we had a lifestyle change, taking the penalty and applying it over to our next deal is always, not always, but in most cases, going to be less money than us buying an overpriced car with high mileage now. We cannot just keep buying our leases without doing a market check. So when you asked about how do I get out of a lease with negative equity, all you can do is find out what the penalty is. There's 3 ways that you could get out of this thing. You could either pay the difference. So if you got, you could wait until your mileage, and this is, all right. If you have negative equity on a lease, I don't even like to call it negative equity because there's no such thing as negative equity on a lease. There's penalties. That's different. Penalties. On a car you purchase, yes, there's negative equity. You bought it, you have a loan on it, the value is not worth the loan. Negative equity. With a lease, we have penalties, over mileage penalties. And now some people will say, well, I'm going to go over mileage. I'm going to get out of the lease 3 months early. But you don't realize if you get out of the lease early, what do you still have remaining? Payments. Three months of payments, 6 months. Who's ever had a dealer say, hey, don't worry about the payments. We'll take care of the old payments. Who's ever heard that? Type me if you've ever had a dealer say to you, don't worry about the old payments. We'll take care of the old payments. Okay, lots of you. The problem with that is the payments don't disappear. They always get rolled over to the next lease. They always get rolled over to your next deal. So what I want y'all to start doing is I want y'all to see that. The money is not hitting. When you have negative equity, 5,000, you got this baggage from your old car, it does not go away. It gets either transferred or you can pay off the difference. So the key is to stay out of negative equity, to stay out of penalties, because yes, once you have them, they have to be accounted for. We got to find our great deal, and then we got to bring our penalties over on top of the great deal. That's all we can do. Now, you better try to see what your car is worth selling it, because you said you're over miles. You call your leasing company, you get your payoff, you find out what your cash offers are. Go to Vroom. Vroom's out of business. Sorry, CarMax, Driveway, Carvana, AutoNation, and Kelly's Blue Book Instant Cash Offer. You can go to Car Guru, Sell My Car Too. These are all people that give you cash for your car. That's what your car is really worth, what those companies will pay. Whoever's the highest bidder, we take that. See, what I'm teaching y'all, and some of you are going to get it immediately right here, right now. Some of you, it's going to take a while to get the fact that your money comes when your savings come when you start learning to make people bid instead of getting one offer. You get the most money when you start learning to make people bid. And so what you have to do is get multiple offers, find out what your car is worth. When you go on those websites, when they ask you, is it a lease, say no, because their websites are set up to where if you put it's a lease, it's going to automatically trigger that they can't buy it. But they can buy it. We've been doing this, y'all. I got hundreds and hundreds of members in Cars from Home University. We shop all around the country. You must put no when you're getting offers for a lease, because their computer is set up to automatically think that it's a third-party restriction and they can't buy it. But when you call your bank, you're going to ask them, do I have a third-party restriction? If they say no, then that means you can sell to anybody. But again, the way these companies are set up, they saw us making all this money on these cars, and the bank said, no, we got to do these third-party restrictions. And there was so many people going to those websites saying, oh, I'm about to sell my lease. And then they would get there, or they would talk to them and they would say, no, we can't buy it because it's a third-party restriction. So they just made their website default to, we don't buy leases, but we do know if you don't have a third-party restriction, they can buy your lease. And it's very important for you to know that. And if you do have a third-party restriction, it doesn't limit the fact you can sell and make money. It limits who you can sell to. When you have a third-party restriction, they say what they're saying is you can only sell your car to a dealer that makes the same brand. You cannot sell to a third-party, Carvana, Driveway. You can't sell to them directly. You can only sell to a dealer. So what does that mean? I see y'all lighting up the likes on TikTok. Can y'all keep tapping the screen? Let's keep those likes going up. I see it. I appreciate it. And thank you to everybody sharing. So when you are, I just got off my point, but I know it was about selling. So multiple offers, y'all. This is all in the book, Car Shopping for People That Hate Car Shopping. Who has their copy? Who got their copy? We'll continue. We got some more time. We're gonna keep doing Q&A, but who got their copy of the book already? Who got their 75% off? I really want y'all using this. The book is affordable for everybody. Everybody. All right, especially at 75. Now it should show, make sure it's not showing the $97 price. That's the normal price. I see you, 5150. Okay. All right, I see you, Jimbo. Okay. Okay, I see you, Diane. I appreciate you. Okay, and I want y'all to use it. Don't read it, use it. That is like literally it's an action guide. That ain't a book you read and then you have a bunch of things you got to remember. I'm walking you through the process step by step. And again, everything I teach is in my videos. So I don't hold back in my videos, but I do want y'all to have access to all the information in one place. If you don't want to cycle through all my videos to try to find it. All right, is it worth buying a car from Carvana? That's a great question, Danny. It depends on if it's the best deal in the market. Danny said, is it worth it to buy a car from Carvana? Now, you can put anything in there. You can put Driveway, any of these online sites, online car buyers, online used car sellers. But here's the game that we avoid. We cannot shop from them exclusively, because here's what they try to do. they will try to sell, they'll try to sell you a car based on variety. Hold on. My do not disturb should be on. My do not disturb should be on. So what, anytime you see, hold on one second. I keep getting a call and I don't know why it always does this. I don't want to lose the people on Instagram. Hold on, Instagram. We got you. All right. We should be back on Instagram now. Okay. So most times, especially when we're selling our cars to these people, you got to realize we sell our cars to Carvana, to Driveway, to all these companies because they pay more than dealers on average. If they're paying more than dealers on average, they're usually not the lowest price. When they're selling the cars, they're usually one of the highest. You can't pay people more than dealers and then turn around and sell for less than dealers. That could be part of the reason why Vroom went out of business. But whenever we shop for a pre-owned car, Carvana is always on the list. Whenever we shop for a pre-owned car, CarMax is always on the list. Driveway is always on the list. Why? Because we shop everywhere there's a used car. You may have been trained to shop local with used cars or to shop I only go to Car Gurus. Then you're missing the stuff that's on cars.com. You're missing the stuff that's on carfax.com. You're missing the stuff that's on Driveway. You're missing the stuff that's on CarMax. So we got it just the same way. If we were buying a baby stroller, we're going to go to Walmart, right? .com. We're going to go to Amazon, right? We're going everywhere, right? That's the same way we got to be when we're shopping for used car. Carvana is just one marketplace. And unfortunately, there are people who shop from them exclusively because they're like, oh, I just love Carvana. I don't have to go into the dealer. And they don't realize that, one, what I teach you won't be in a dealer more than 30 minutes. And also, if I'm not checking their prices, I'm going to overpay. And I'll literally have I didn't have to go to a dealer, but I got a car in my driveway that I could have got for $5,000 less if I just shopped around the right way. I did just mention Auto Trader. Auto Trader's on our list, Alex. Auto Trader is one of our marketplaces. It's one of the marketplaces we shop on. It's just like a Walmart. It's just like a Amazon.com. Auto Trader is a big one. We definitely don't skip any used car marketplace. Now, we don't use Auto Tempest because Auto Tempest pulls and aggregates some data from other people's websites. They're not their own marketplace, so they can't get all the data. So that's why I don't use them. We just go direct to the marketplaces themselves because no company has the rights to market everyone's product. And so as long as no company has the right to market everyone's products, the only way we're going to see all the product is by being on all the marketplaces. But I'll show you how to do this quick. This shouldn't take you more. Look, y'all, this is going to sound crazy, but it shouldn't take you more than 60 minutes, 90 minutes to get your best deal on a car. No, 90 tops. Tops. Not only do I want y'all saving thousands, I want y'all to save time. Deciding what you want, shopping, test driving, that takes time. That's fun. Getting the deal, that should not take you more than 60 to 90 minutes when you learn how to get bids. Okay. And the more you stick around, the more you use what I teach, you're going to make deals and save more money in like less time. Does he lease to buy? No, we don't do lease to buys. We don't mix the two. Leasing is its own benefit. That's a great question. Great question. Let me put the banner back up for those of you who want to get the book. See, if you don't want to have to remember all of this, grab your book. My new book is called Car Shopping for People That Hate Car Shopping. It's digital, so you could download it, be literally using it in 2 minutes. And just go to deshonsbook.com. It's 75% off for our launch. and you can get your copy. If you're on Facebook or if you're on Instagram or TikTok, you could go right to my bio, click the link in my bio, get your copy while it's 75% off. Price goes back up to $97, I think, after 30 minutes. All right, so your payment is over $1,100 now, and look, that means your loan is probably somewhere around 60 grand or more. Depends on how much it depends on what your term was. So if your payment was $1,100 a month, on a 5-year term, that's a $60,000 loan. That's about a $5,500 loan on a 5-year term. So you want to look at other ways to acquire that car. Is there a way that I could have been in this car for less money? Now, watch this, Gigaware, because he's being honest. My payment's over is $1,100. If you are buying that car and your intention is to keep it, and that means your intention is to keep it for 8+ years, you're going to pay off that car, and then you're going to just, start to catch you. Once you don't have a car payment, you can start to catch up to the person who leased, because the person who leases is always going to have a payment. That's the downside about leasing. There is no opportunity for you to pay off the car, and you don't want to. Again, it's not like when you're not keeping cars long enough, you're getting great lease deals. The goal is not to pay off the car. The goal is to drive the most car I can for the least amount of money. That's the goal with a lease. The goal with a purchase is to now pay off the car and start to now keep the car long enough for the depreciation to cool off. Depreciation is the value that it loses every year. Thank you, Becky. Good to see you as well. Long time. Great to see you. So depreciation is the value the car loses every year. When you buy a brand new car, you lose 20% the first year. Then you lose 15%. Then you lose 15%. Then you lose 12%. Then you lose 10%. And as you keep the car longer, it gets to a point where you're only losing 5% or so a year. But you must keep that car long enough to get to that point. And what many of you have been taught to do, you may have been taught to, man, I buy my cars and then I'm replacing them in 3 years. I'm replacing them in 5 years. Now I'm replacing my cars when they're losing the most value. That's not when you want to replace a car. You now bought the car, it's losing value like crazy for the first 6-7 years. Now, perfect. It's going to cool off now. It's paid off now. Now I can start to recoup some of all that money that I put into that car. But most people don't do that. You may have been taught, I just go and get another car and I start the process all over again. So not only are you never getting to benefit, not only are you always having a payment anyway, you're not getting the benefit from all the money that you're putting into these cars. You're never allowing the depreciation to cool off to where you got no car payment and you just got a car out there and you can stack some of this money up. It just happens all the time. It's an issue of not understanding leasing. Leasing is for short-term people less than 8 years. Purchasing is for long-term people more than 8 years. And don't worry, we'll continue to go deep on this. All in the book. So anybody who wants to really know this and have it all in one place so they can use it, if you're shopping for a car now or in the next 12 months, you need this stuff right now. I got tons of videos all over all my Facebook pages. But if you want all the information in one spot, get your book at 75% off. Just make sure that it's not showing the $97 price. Whenever you click to the website, make sure it's showing the 75% off price. So you can purchase off the bank loan. I don't know what you mean by that, Skinner. Is it smart to lease and then buy it out? No, see, and again, that's a very common question. Yo, what's the benefit of that? I mean, somewhere along the lines, we heard about leasing to buy. We don't want to, you're only leasing because you don't want to buy the car. You're buying the car because you want to keep it and take care of it for the long run. I see you, Dr. Coop. Congratulations. She said, I got the book. Enjoy it. Use it. Don't read it. Use it. And, I really can't wait to hear your success story. There's no reason. Look, when I'm going into a lease, and you got to have this in your tool belt. Some of you, your children are not going to keep a car 8 years. You're going to need to set them up to get a great lease. Yeah, you might be a person who like Deshone. I just buy my car, man, I keep it 10 years. If that's you, type K for keeper. Most times, if you buy your cars, you keep them 10 years, type K in the comments for keeper. Thanks, Ambi. Said keep killing it. Appreciate you. If you are, the book is called Car Shopping for People That Hate Car Shopping. It's in my TikTok bio and it's in my Instagram bio. But I think you only got, it's 30 minutes. You could get it for 75% off. While everybody is on, you could get it 75% off. Okay, so keepers, you are not, you're not worried. That's when you buy. When I'm going into lease, I'm not thinking about keeping. I'm not we don't want to mix the two. Leasing is, I'm gonna get a great lease deal where I drive a brand new car for pennies compared to purchasing. Or you know, for a small percentage compared to purchasing. That is a lease. My goal is not to buy the car. It's not to buy the car. You and see when we keep, we win. When we lease, we win as long as we're getting good deals. But it's people who are mixing the two, and that might be you, and that's where we lose. We buy and then we trade. We buy and then we sell it in 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. We tired of it. Oh, I'm gonna go switch out of this. That's mixing. The other one is you lease and then you purchase the lease. So you lease your vehicle and then you go buy it at the end. That is mixing. You don't want to mix because the benefits of leasing are laid out. The benefits of purchasing are laid out. Very clear, separate benefits. When you mix the two strategies, you lose the benefits. And again, most people who would tell you they bought their lease, they're buying it with a 5 or 6 year loan when they've already been paying 3 years to lease it. The lease is 3 years, the loan is 5 years, that's 8 years. And I'm gonna tell y'all how this happened. How I figured out this was so bad, I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I was in the dealership one day. Somebody comes in, they're like, "Hey, I want to replace my car." So I go out and I look at the car. I ask them what they owe. No, I don't think I asked them what they owe. They come to the dealership. They say, "Yeah, I got a car out there. I want to trade it in for a new car." And I'm like, "Okay, that's pretty normal. Let's take a look." Here's what happens. I say, "What year is it?" And they'll say, "Well, it's a 2018." I'm just using like a real example. Like they say, "Oh, it's a 2018." Now I'll ask them, "How long have you had it?" And they'll say, "Well, I bought it brand new. So I've had it 5 years, 6 years." Now, follow me, y'all. Everybody on here, I want your opinion on this. Person comes up and says they've had a car for 6 years. They bought it brand new. They've been paying on that car for 6 years. Don't you think that car should be paid off by now or almost paid off? Yes or yes. Type Y if you understand. Person bought it 6 years ago. You go out and I'm like, "Okay, mister, how long have you had it?" They're like, "I've had it for 6 years." So I'm like, "Okay, perfect." Everybody's saying yes. So this is what I'm thinking. This is how I found out buying your lease was a bad idea for most people, if not all. So I go and I say, "Okay, great. I see you're here trading." Now, in my mind, I'm already trained to talk to him about leasing because, thank you, Brent. I know you're here trading this car in 6 years. I want to show you what leasing looks like, and you're going to love that a lot better. You're not going to need this down payment. I'm going to be able to give you a check back for this equity in this car you got here. It's going to be all good. And I've helped some people do that. They come in and I show them the lease, and I'm like, you keep just trading your cars, but if you lease, here's what, boom, that you could do. And then I'll give you this, you get a big check back for your balance of your old car, all of that. So this is when it works, it's beautiful. But when it doesn't work, this is what it looks like. I'm like, I run and I'm like, "Okay, your car is worth about $15,000. Instagram just logged me out. Instagram just logged me out of nowhere. I don't know what happened. Let's see if I could go back. All right. So now when it doesn't work, so I go out and I find the used car manager may tell me this car is worth 15,000, and I'm like, okay, perfect. It's probably paid off. Great. He's gonna get like a check back for like almost all that, and then he's gonna have a low payment. He's gonna love it. So I find out when I call the bank, I say how much you owe. He says, well, I don't really know. I call the bank. I'm like, okay, I'm calling for Mr. Jones payoff on his, such and such car. And the bank says, okay, yes, the payoff is $15,000. I'm like, wait, 15,000? How could he still owe 15,000? This doesn't make sense. I look at him and I said, the bank is saying you still owe 15,000 on the car. And I'm like, he's like, yeah, okay, yeah, I didn't know how much I had owed. I said, wait a minute, didn't you tell me that you had this car since it was new? Yeah, and you told me you had it for 6 years? Yeah, how do you still owe? And he said, oh, I leased it first, though. What I did was I leased it for 3 years, and then I had bought it at the end. And I'm like, there we go. That's the problem. You leased it for 3 years. Most people, when they're buying their lease, they're going to put a 6-year loan on it, which means 6 years later, from the day you bought it, from the day you originally leased it, 6 years later, you've been making payments and you still have 2 more years of payments left. That's actually, I'm wrong. That's 9, 3 years of payments left. Happens all the time. So I literally, y'all, smart people on here, you'd never take a 9-year loan, right? Type never. You never take a 9-year loan. If you're enjoying, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you're not subscribed already, we still got probably 400 or 500 people on here throughout all the platforms. If you, whatever platform you're on, make sure you're following us, because this is the stuff we do. You would never, right? You would never take a 9-year loan. But the same we're adamant we'd never take a 9-year loan. We got to see every single time. Thank you so much. I appreciate the gifts on TikTok and all the platforms. We got to take every time we hear about buying our lease out, unless we're going to pay cash for it, which is another discussion. But most people are not. They're going to take a 5 or 6 year loan out. So as soon as you hear lease to buy, as soon as you think lease to buy, I want you to think 8 or 9 years of payments on the same car. That's why it's a bad idea. That's why it's a horrible idea. Okay? Now, if you are comparing, we had somebody in our group yesterday who was asking about buying his lease out because he's going to give the car to his parents and because they're going to keep it long term, and the value of the car compared to the value of a similar used car is a great deal. That's different. Buy it. Because all you're doing when you're buying your lease is you're buying a used car. It's your car. I used to help people buy their lease. Hey, they come out of the office, we switch the plates because we got to re-register the car. And I'm like, okay, so how was it? Now they just signed up for a 5-year loan, 6-year loan on a car that they've already been in for 3 years. They're not really excited about it. I've had the car for 3 years. At least when you go buy a used car, you're excited about it. You're excited. Oh, nice. It's new to me. But when you buy your lease out, you're not really excited. Thank you, man. Y'all going crazy with these gifts and everything. I appreciate it. So these are the things, like what I want y'all to have. As long as you stick with me and you learn what I teach, you're going to have clear boundaries that you operate in that always protect you. That's the name of the game. There's clear things I do. There's clear things I don't do. I know I have rules. I have boundaries. And what I want y'all to get familiar with is the 8-year rule. The 8-year rule is the first rule. It says if you're not keeping your car 8 years, you should not be buying it. You can't outlive the depreciation. You cannot outlive the depreciation compared to someone who purchases. Now, it's too much to go deep on right now. We'll go deep because I know some people thinking, oh, Deshone, but if I pay cash for a brand new car, I'll pay less overall. Yeah, but if you pay cash for a brand new car, you're still laying out all the money. You're still laying out all the money and you're still trying to get that back. You're still, oh, I paid 30 grand, 40 grand, 50 grand. Do you understand that a person who leases that same car, what would you rather be? Big dog who thinks you're big dog because you're going to write a $50,000 check, or a person who comes in and says, I'm going to get that car for $500 a month. Do I want 50 grand coming out of my bank account going into a car, or do I want $500 every month? It's much more, it's a much more pleasant feeling to give a bank $500 every month to drive their $40,000 car than it is to say, okay, you want this $40,000 car, then you come give us a check for the whole amount and the taxes and everything. Now I'm taking the check out, boom. And again, there are situations where that's right, but I want you may have been somebody who's like, yeah, but I don't think it's right for me. And that's okay. That's okay. I'm not one of these people that's going to make y'all feel like you are wrong by using leverage and learning how to creatively acquire cars where it's a little bit of money coming out of your bank account every month versus what people have told y'all and how you should be buying cars. Thoughts about leasing luxury vehicles. It doesn't change, Doctober. That's a great question. He said, what are your thoughts about leasing luxury cars? Same principle, 8-year rule. I don't care whether you're leasing a G-Wagon, whether it's a Bentley you're looking at, whether you're looking at a Toyota Corolla, the 8-year rule is what applies. Because the 8-year rule takes into account the depreciation. If you look and say, that's a car I'm keeping for 8 years or more, you buy it. If that's a car you're not keeping 8 years, you're going to see you'll pay thousands less and drive a better car leasing it, even if you try to buy it used. So I'll need more than one broadcast to really go deep on this. I'm just getting familiar with how to use all of these tools where I can show you all stuff. But we'll continue to go deep on this. This is not a subject. If you've gotten years and years of bad advice, it's not always. Some of you get a breakthrough immediately, and some of you it takes more time because again, it's been beaten to your head, and people with loud voices who shout tell you this is what you do, or you never do this, or you always do it like this. You know, like who's heard somebody say never buy a used car? I mean, never buy a new car, always buy used. Who's heard that? Type of U for used. If you were taught you always get a used car, you should never get a new car. Who's taught that? And we got a couple more minutes. We'll stay on. We'll do some more questions. As long as y'all continue to share the broadcast and continue to stay tuned in, I see we still got hundreds of people on, then we'll continue. All right, now let me tell y'all how, see, you either have to teach something that works for everybody, or what you teach will mess people up. If somebody says to y'all, every single one of you should be buying used cars, because that's what they'll say. Never buy a new car. Everybody on here should be buying a used car. So that means you think everybody in the country should be buying used cars, right? Yeah, absolutely. Nobody should buy a new car. Nobody in this whole country should buy a new car. Like, no, always buy a used car. Okay, perfect. So let's just say if you had your wish, everybody in the country would be buying used cars, right? Because that'd be better for them, right? Yes, if I had my wish, everybody would be buying used cars. Then here's my question. How do they become used cars then? How do they become used cars if everyone is buying used cars? I want y'all to think about this. If you had your wish, you could snap your finger, Mr. Financial Advisor, whatever you teach. How could everyone buy used cars? It's impossible. The cars come in new. They don't just, so if everybody was buying used cars, what's happening to the new cars? They're just sitting there. And then, so that's not a practical solution. How do we acquire? Who should be buying brand new cars? People who are going to lease them, and people who are buying new cars, who want to purchase, keep long term, and you could afford new. That's only if some people say, Deshone, I want to buy. I'm not leasing. I want to buy. I keep my car. But should I buy new or pre-owned? That depends on budget. That depends on, unless you want one specific from a year, sometimes it'd be like, oh, I want this special year. But if it's a case of, you know what, I can afford both. Should I buy new? Should I buy pre-owned? That's a matter of budget and preference. If I could afford a new one and I can keep it long enough to outlive the depreciation, then I'll buy new. But if I can't afford to get a quality vehicle for my budget, then I'll buy pre-owned. And some people want to treat themselves. Some people like, I only get a new car every 10 years, Deshone. I'm going to get something new. That's fine. That's fine. As long as it's long term, because time heals all wounds. We killing the likes on TikTok too. I appreciate everybody tapping the screen. Y'all still running the likes up. Appreciate it. Shout out to the subscribers. If you haven't subscribed to us on YouTube yet, please, we invite you to subscribe. This is what we'll do. You'll get notifications of when we live, so you can make sure you tapped in. I see you, Barbara. She said, I just bought the book. I appreciate everybody who got the book at 75% off. This is the launch. I'm excited. As y'all saw earlier in the broadcast, we're already rated 4.94 on goodreads.com. We got 31 reviews. That book, Car Shopping for People That Hate Car Shopping, has been really changing people's lives and the way they shop. It's a tool. It's not something you read. It's something you use. So get your copy at deshonesbook.com, 75% off, or you can scan the QR code, or if you're on Instagram or TikTok, just go to my bio. And as long as you're seeing this, you still should be able to get it at the 75% off price. And it's immediate download. So, and you'll see as you read it, there's a reason I had to make it a digital book. I couldn't print it because it links to videos. It links to docs. I got scripts that it links to. There's no way I would have been able to do it printing the book. And then also, sometimes I need to update stuff. Like Vroom went out of business 2 months ago. If I would have printed the book, now Vroom is, I need to be able to update real time when something happens. And I couldn't do that with a print book. I didn't want thousands of print books out there and then something changes. And now I got to tell people, oh no, you got to get volume 2 now. You know what I'm saying? Thanks, Angelina. All right, so Dr. Coop says, I have a paid off Toyota. I don't want to trade it. Should I have a down payment? You don't need, look, if you can find a deal on the vehicle you want below your budget with no down payment, then do it. You said you have a paid off Toyota. You don't want to trade it in. Now, here's what I ask people. You put the vehicle to use, because if you're going to go and get another vehicle, then you're going to be paying for that vehicle. You don't really want, the only people I recommend have an extra vehicle is if you're a high mileage driver. Who's a high mileage driver? You're driving over 20,000 miles a year. Over 20,000 a year, type HM for high mileage. These are the only people that it benefits you having a paid off car like this. So sometimes it's worth it to buy your car, pay off the first car. And here's what I like. All right, so we got a lot of high mileage drivers watching right now. So I have a strategy in the book, and what you'll hear me talk about is really 2 routes for high mileage drivers, so that y'all can stop having all this negative equity when you come in to replace your vehicles. What typically happens with high mileage drivers, and the reason I suggest to them 2 cars, 1 car payment, is because they're putting so many miles on their vehicle, but your loan is a normal loan. Your loan is a 5-year loan or a 6-year loan. Those loans are made to go down for the normal or average driver. And even the average driver is going to have negative equity on these loans in the short term. So when you are destroying the value of your car because you're putting 20,000, 30,000 miles a year on it, it's going from being worth 20 grand one year to now it's worth 12 grand the next year because you put 30,000. You're destroying the value of it, but the loan that's attached to it is not moving. This is the indicator that the loan and the purchase price or the value of the asset is totally unrelated. They're unrelated. They don't matter. That's why you have to make sure you get a good price on the asset. You can't just pay attention to what is my loan doing, because your loan doesn't tell you what you're really in the car for. So check it out. You now are putting all this mileage on your car. You come in 4 years and you're like, hey, you know what? Car got 200,000 miles on it now. Let me go ahead and trade this thing in. Problem is, 200,000 miles, you still got 2 years left on the loan. You still owe 15 grand. You still owe 12,000. You still owe 20,000. And you are now seriously hurting your value, your next deal, because all that baggage you got to come to this next deal. The solution to stay out of that is to make sure that you are having either, I teach either 2 routes. Well, the third is really just be a long-term person. You could drive 30,000 miles a year. And if I'm a long-term person, I'll just have 300,000 miles on my car in 10 years. And then I just go switch it. It's keepers here that's long-term people, high mileage drivers, and they get their car. That thing got 250,000 miles. It's mostly highway. And in 8, 9, 10 years, they go and they replace it. No need to lease. Again, continuing theme, long-term, don't think about leasing. Because some people who just tune in and they catch a brief, oh, is this so everybody should lease? No, that's what I'm trying to tell y'all. Long-term people, long-term purchase, you buying a car for your kid in college and they like, yeah, I'm gonna keep that thing for 10 years, man. You know I'm boring. Great. But most kids are not. They're like, hey, when I get my job, when I turn 24, I'm probably gonna want something different. So if you're not a long-term person, you should be purchasing. But I mean, you should be leasing. But going back to the high mileage, y'all, this is how it works. The 2 strategies for high mileage drivers is to have one separate car, you pay that thing off, and now that becomes your mileage car, and you go and lease a nice car. This is beautiful. This prevents you from having 2 car payments, and this allows you to have a nice car that you're not destroying. So you pay off that first car. If you're going to go this route, your first deal is a purchase, because you're going to get that first car, pay it off, could be new, could be used, but it must be quality. Pay it off, and as soon as that car is paid off, now I go lease my nice car. So I might be putting a high mileage on that first car I'm buying, but once I go lease my nice car, now I got a payment over here, my nice car is over here, and this is what I take out to dinner. This is when I want to go out and have a good time. I don't want a car that I'm just always putting, 30,000 miles a year on. Now I split it. And this has allowed so many high mileage drivers to continually be able to predict what they're going to put in these cars, because now they can't. You cannot predict how much y'all are spending on these cars, high mileage drivers. Y'all are losing so much on resale value. Your loans are just so high and they're moving slow. You don't know how much you are losing, but I break it down for you. It's thousands. You can't destroy the value of a car and then go trade it. It follows you. So that's one strategy. Second is a high mileage lease. Second is straight up. First time I experienced this, I had a guy came in and he was bringing back a lease with 75,000 miles on it. And I asked him, I said, man, I didn't even know. And that's my ignorance. I was selling cars and I didn't even know that was available. And I said, let me ask you a question. How long you been doing these, like, what do you do? He's like, I'm in sales. Like I do 25,000 miles a year, every year. I said, okay, wow. And you lease your car? He said, yeah. Because I already know what a good lease deal is. I just didn't really take into account back then. This is probably 2015. I didn't take into account a high mileage good lease deal. And when he told me what his payment was, and he said, yeah, I come back 75,000 miles. I drop that thing off. I pay my payment every month. Now here's the thing. He might only be paying $150 or $200 a month more for his super high mileage. But that's much better than him buying the cold car, destroying the value, coming back and trying to trade it with 10, 15 grand negative equity. So strategy, you are not really purchasing cars with strategy until leasing and purchasing is in your tool belt and you know when to use which. For your family, not just you, for your family. It's not just you. All right. So great questions. So this is the type of stuff that's in the book. Everything's in the book. Whether you see me live, whether you see me on social media making videos, you're going to get all the information. You don't have to worry about, oh, Deshone is holding back info. It's not. Now, Access to me, yes, I have access. I have a Cars from Home University where I coach people personally and we work together. That's access. But as far as the information's out there. It's how you want the information. We'll get it to you anyway. If you want it all in one spot, get the book, get Car Shopping for people that hate car shopping. Download it now. It's 75% off. Scan the QR code or go to deshonesbook.com or go to my Instagram or TikTok bio and get your 75% off copy. But other than that, you don't have to worry about not having the information. See, what y'all have had to deal with is how do we make great car deals? How do we not pay penalties when we don't have the information? But now the information's here. It's here for you. It's just you got to decide, how do I want the information? Do I want to look through all Deshone's videos? I got a video on every topic. More videos to come. They're not in order, and they're for different people. Some of you are going to purchase used cars. Some of you are going to lease. Some of you are going to buy a new car. Some of you are going to pay cash. Some of you have good credit. Some of you don't. So throughout all those videos, you got to sort through that. In the book, you're only following one path. When I do videos, when I do a book, it's like one path. Let's stay focused so that we can keep you on track. That's why it's step by step. Yeah, that's how the book is designed. All right, how do you purchase a vehicle without proof of income? That's tough. You need other things that are going to weigh. That's a good question. So if you don't have proof of income, credit profile gets you approved, not credit score. So proof of income is usually only required when you have a lower score or you have a new company, new business, and they need some type of way to, try to, make sure they're going to be all right recouping their money. How is the car going to be paid? So if I didn't have proof of income, then I got to work on credit. Or I got to have a lot of cash. And even then, what's the reason we don't have proof of income? Once I know that, I could better explain. What's the reason we don't have proof of income? Seems dealers don't care about mileage if you release with them. That's now good time. So now watch this, y'all. This comment just came in. We'll still cycle through all the comments. We got another little while in this hour. We're getting through as much as we get through. It's good time on YouTube said, seems dealers don't care about mileage if you release with them. Absolutely a mirage. I asked y'all earlier, who's had a dealer say, oh, we'll take care of the old payments. We'll take care of the mileage penalty. It's absolutely not true. Since 2006, here's the only time, shout out to y'all running the likes up on TikTok. I appreciate it. Y'all keep running them up. Thank you so much. Shout out to the sharers. Everybody who shares good information, just hit the share button wherever you're at and share with somebody if you're in this sharing. So I've never seen mileage taken care of, ever. No program, no bank, no leasing company, and we've done thousands of transactions. I've never seen a leasing company say, we'll forgive mileage. Never. So that does not happen. Mileage penalties let's say we calculate a $2,000 mileage penalty, that gets rolled over to your next lease deal, and we're working that lease deal with that $2,000 accounted for. So whatever the deal is we're working you, now, perfect, here's what it is. Make sure that $2,000 penalty is in there. You pay for that. Now, in some cases, very rare, there's loyalty programs where they waive some payments. Mercedes used to have this. It's since gone away, and they didn't have it on every vehicle. They didn't run it every month, where if you lease another Mercedes, we'll cover 3 of your old payments. So you could get out 3 months early, no penalty, but it had to be waived. Since I got into the business, I've heard dozens of people sitting around me say, we are going to be waiving those, but we're going to be taking care of those payments. Are you waiving the payments? Oh, what do you mean by that? Are you waiving the payments? See that, and when you ask them that question, I don't want you to even go in looking to get out early. I'd rather you know what your deal is, so you can shop from home the way I teach, where no one has to reveal that information to you. No one is. If you got the right strategy, you're never putting yourself in a position where someone can lie to you without you knowing it. So if you go in the old way and you go into one dealer and say, hey, I'm looking to get my, new lease and I got like penalties, and they'll say, okay, we'll take care of it. That's putting yourself in position to be lied to. Oh, we took care of that. We built in the payment. Yeah, all the payments are taken care of. This is your new payment. Mm-mm. When we shop, when we take control of our deal, that's not something someone's telling us. That's something we already know. Because when we're over on mileage, we always want to see how much can we sell the car for. I was over mileage on my Jeep, sold it, still made money. Still made money. There's plenty of people who go over on their mileage and can still sell their lease and make a lot of money. Even if they break even, they avoid the penalty. So first is always to do our equity assessment and see how much we can sell the car for. And if we can sell it, we avoid the penalty. And then we're choosing payments. Do we get out early? Do we make the payment? You see, when you getting out of your lease early, unless you sell the vehicle, y'all, you can't get out of your lease early. You're breaking a contract. So I don't want y'all I don't want y'all using language or comfortable with language that cost you money, because you've heard people say this for years. Oh, I'm just going to get out of this. No, you're going to get out of it and you're going to pay penalties for that. So because they've taught us, or you've been taught, oh, you can get out, no problem. You call the dealership, hey, you know what, y'all? I bought so many cars from y'all. I know I'm supposed to keep this lease for how many years? It's supposed to be 3 years, Mrs. Johnson. Okay, yeah, but I think I'm ready for something new already. All right, well, when can you come in, Miss Johnson? See, they're never going to say, just so you know, Miss Johnson, if you break the lease, the penalty is going to be, pretty significant, because you contracted for 3 years and now you're getting out. So we're gonna have to roll over probably about $3,000 or $4,000 or $5,000 to your new lease. So no, they'll just come in, get you in, and all right, here's your new payment, Miss Johnson. You don't realize that I'm paying $100 more for this car than I could have been paying if I just waited. But because you've been taught to be a payment shopper, it doesn't matter to you. But somebody who's financially savvy, who's like, man, I don't want that extra $100 coming out of my house for the same vehicle. You're not going to do this. So we cannot ever believe what dealers say about penalties, about, oh, we'll take care of that. We find out, can we sell our car to avoid the penalty? Or if I can't, I either got to pay the payments and get out earlier, or I'm going to stay in it and just take the mileage penalty. That's not a bad idea most times, y'all. Sometimes people will call and say, yo, I'm going over mileage. And I say, okay, well, based on how you're going over, you'll only be over by like 2,000 miles. That's only $500. Oh, I thought it was going to be more than that. Nah, you're going to be over by 2,000 miles. Just, wait till the end. And then when you get your new car, build that 500 into the deal, and that's it. Or just pay the $500. Because very rarely are people, oh, I was supposed to drive 36,000 and I'm doing 100. That's just, wait, something went wrong here. What the heck happened? I can see you were supposed to do 36 and you did 40. You're supposed to do 36,000 miles, you did even 45. Maybe you got a different job. But I mean, how we have to structure our leases right, so that if you know you're a high mileage driver and you take a 10,000 mile a year lease, shame on you. Like, we can't do that. We can't do that. Some people, oh, I'll just buy it at the end. You're killing yourself. You're killing yourself. The residual value, you're going to put a ridiculous amount of money on those, or a ridiculous amount of mileage on that car, and you're going to buy it in 3 years with 90,000 miles on it for the same buyout price that was estimated from your 10,000 mile a year lease. They estimated this buyout price is for a person who brings the car back with 30,000 miles on it. Here's the price. And then you bring it back with 90 and you pay the same price. Oh, I'm just going to buy it because I went over on the miles. No, killing yourself. You're realizing the loss. So again, this is why we want to be in your life. This is why I'm doing my best to be in your life, so that you can avoid these things. Anybody who really wants to have somebody, like, we're set up. We've been doing this for 3 years as far as a company, providing education. So, I mean, whether it's hundreds, thousands, dozens, we're set up to make sure that everybody who wants to protect themselves and get the best deals are able to do it. Paula, got my book. Phenomenal. Use it. Everybody that got the book, thank you. I appreciate you, brother. I thank you so much, Lord. I appreciate you. We're going to be doing these lives regularly. I think, this is the best format. I like to come and interact and really answer questions and really show y'all, why I want you to start treating cars, buying cars and leasing cars, treating getting cars like buying small houses. Most people treat getting cars like going to Walmart and getting a TV, big screen. You come back home and you're like, man, it's like you get an itch, but you get an itch for a $30,000 decision or a $10,000 decision. When you start planning out your car purchases the way I'm going to show you, and you go in with a system and a strategy, the way that's taught in my book is 7 steps. First step is deciding whether you lease or buy. 7th step is delivery. So by the time you get to step 7 in my book, by the time you get to step 7 of what I teach, you should be picking up your car or it should be being delivered to you. So it's not about learning and reading and then, okay, Deshone, I just read everything. I just learned everything. I just watched all the videos. Now I'm ready to go get my car. No, we're going to you learn by doing. And if I teach you a different way to shop, different things to do, by the time you get your car, you're going to be like, oh, I didn't need Deshone to tell me what to do step 1 through 7. I just needed him to tell me this is step 1, do that. And then when I'm done, I come back. Okay, Deshone, I did step 1. What's step 2? Here's step 2. Do this now. Okay, perfect. Let me go on these websites, do step 2. Perfect. Just did step 2, Deshone. Perfect. Here's step 3. Do this. And we found that has been able to guarantee success for so many people. And that's how they're able to get the same deals that I get. Like this is this lady right here, this young lady, like Taupe. She got a BMW $54,750 BMW, putting dealers against each other. She got it for $690 a month. She got the protection plan and raised it up. Her payment on that BMW. Now, mind you, if you can see on YouTube, if you can see on Facebook, you can see this slide. $690 a month. People are paying for that $54,000 BMW. People are paying $1,100 a month. To go in and purchase that car, $54,000 is $1,100 a month with no money down because she didn't do any money down. $690. You see what I'm saying? Some of you might be looking, and quite honestly, some people may watch it because we're going to syndicate this. Whether you're watching this live or in syndication, doesn't change the value. You might be driving that same car, and you might be looking and saying, "Yo, I'm paying $1,000 a month for that car. She's paying $690. I put $8,000 down. She put no money down. We can't compare. You think Dave Ramsey, God forbid, and look, shout out to Dave Ramsey. I love what he teaches in terms of financial literacy. I love that he teaches people to invest and build for retirement and make sure I love that. But there's an area that he doesn't know what he's talking about, and that's when it comes to cars. See, look, credit is a big part of it has a lot to do with me helping you. Y'all don't hear me teaching credit. It's important. It's a complimentary topic for us to talk about. I talk cars, how to make sure you pay the lease for them. Yeah, maybe natural. Let me get some credit tips too. Rodney, you could just go right to my TikTok bio, grab your book. It's 75% off. Click the link in my TikTok bio. You think she can ever listen to someone that tells her you shouldn't be leasing? She knows when to lease and when to purchase. She's not in love with that vehicle. She's not keeping that vehicle 8, 9, 10 years. So how can I drive this vehicle for the lowest amount of money in my household? I'm going to shop all my offers. The dealer that wins the bid, I'm going to see what it is. Oh, look at that. It's $690 a month. I'll take it. This is how we are going to keep thousands of dollars in our household as things continue to go up. I need you guys to be spending. I need you not only to be making sure your cars are below your max budget so that every single month you're not growing tired and weary of your car payment. That means it just needs to be below your max budget. And then the second thing we need is to make sure that you are driving the best possible product for that money. You could be below budget and look at what you're driving for the money, and you're like, yeah, I'm below budget, but could I have gotten a better car for this money? Could I have gotten more car for this money? And I'm here to tell you that when you understand leasing, you're going to see there's no comparison. $690 a month for a daggone $1,100 a month vehicle to purchase. So short term, less than 8 years, we always lease. We never purchase. Now, in another episode, when we start talking about, in another segment, we'll talk about overpriced leases because every lease is not equal. Y'all gonna learn. We can't. Every lease deal, even when you learn to shop, you must learn to shop. You must, because some 80% of dealers are overpriced on their leases. 80% of dealers who gave Tope a quote, let me come back from this screen. 80% of dealers who gave a quote to this young lady, Tope, on her BMW, were a lot higher. Some of you even saw it on the video. It said it when she wrote it. It said, man, all these other offers were a lot higher. That's how it's supposed to be. So you can't go back and forth with one dealer. You must reveal the best dealer, the best offer through multiple offers. So that's what you do. And you do that whether you're leasing or purchasing. And when you start doing that, you'll understand. That's in the book. That's what I teach. Bids. One-to-one negotiation is dead. I want y'all to eliminate one-to-one from we never do it. Because you cannot do that with any other item and win. You can't do it you can't do it with jewelry. You can't do it with groceries. You can't do it with televisions. You can't do it with houses. One-to-one negotiations, you lose every time. You must see multiple options, multiple offers, and then we pick the best one. And what you see is that's going to be done with loans we get, cars we buy, and cars that we sell. We don't trade. So, all right, yeah, this has been great. I need her contact. I don't know what you, I guess y'all having a conversation. I didn't know what y'all needed contact-wise. All right, let's see. Is buying and selling a car a good hustle? I'm not really teaching people how to buy and sell cars because, there's, if you want to go into the car business, that's not what I teach. So I have to log out to purchase the book. You shouldn't have to. Let me try to reset. Let me know if it's still showing the $97 price or if everybody was able to get the 75% off price. Let us know. All right. I just reset it. So it should give you an opportunity to go back in there now and get it at the 97% off. All right. Buy dealer loaner cars. It depends. Those can be great opportunities. But again, we still need something to compare it to, Tina. Tina on Facebook said, buy dealer loaner cars. Now, we will buy or lease a loaner car if it's a great offer. So when we reach out to dealers, you'll see in the book, I teach you to go to the website because I give you my scripts. I tell you what to say. Some of you could do it by phone if you want to call a dealership and try to get multiple offers, but I would only speak to a sales manager. And even then, you got to just make sure that but only speak to a sales manager. But the point is, if they have a loaner car, it needs to be so much better than what I could get a brand new one for. So if, for instance, if the dealer that wins the bid is offering me $3,000 off on a brand new one, but a dealer with a loaner car is only offering me $3,000 off or $3,500 off, and it has 3,000 miles on it, I'm going to go with the brand new one. But if I don't have anything to compare it to, then I might think 3,000 off is a good offer for the loaner car. See what I'm saying? See, price assurance is when you guarantee. I want y'all to listen. If you want price assurance, type PA in the comments. You want this every time you make a deal. Price assurance means I guarantee that I paid the lowest price that I could have paid. That's called price assurance. I want you to understand. Some of you have been, though, is that possible with cars? That's what I want you to move from now on. I never want you to make another car deal without price assurance. How do you get price assurance? Multiple offers. It's the same way you get price assurance when you're buying groceries, when you're buying, spaghetti sauce. I know I saw enough offers to know there was nothing out there less. Not, oh, I went in, I looked at one brand and said, oh, I gotta have it. I like those. And it was $1 off. And I thought see, price assurance is the best thing with a car because you literally can look at all these offers and say, this is the best one. It's amazing when you realize you're the prize. Some of you be like, man, I haven't been treated like I'm the prize. I know, we're going to change that. So when you use the systems that I want you to use, you'll realize, dang, I've been the prize the whole time. You mean all of these banks and credit unions would like work this hard to try to give me, it's all these options I got. It seemed like before I really didn't know all my options. That's right. But when you now change the way you shop and you now move into a bidding mindset, everyone I'm going to do business with must win the bid. The bank, the credit union must win the bid. And then I'm going to give the dealers a chance to see if they can beat it. Now they bank's going to get a chance to bid. Very soon we'll talk about how to do that without affecting your credit. I want to show y'all this bank bidding war process. We have a specific way we shop for loans, credit unions, banks. We let dealers access our credit, and the way it shows as one inquiry when it comes to affecting our score. You must learn that because when you see how much money is in the loans, you're gonna be mad. You're gonna be like, dang, I never shopped around the way I should have for my loan. I never shopped around. That's fine. No, there was no one to tell you. Now there is someone to tell you that if you have a $30,000 loan and the interest rate is 5.9, if you could have got 4.9, that'd have saved you $1,000. Do you get what I'm saying? If you have a $50,000 loan, 1 point on the interest rate, say you $2,000. So we must imagine if you could get 2 points lower, say $4,000. So we are excited to try to get money off the car. We're going to be just as excited to make sure we're not giving that money in our loan. The banks are not loving us because we don't want the banks to like us. We want the banks to say, man, we barely making any money on this loan, but we'll take it. You don't want the bank to say, oh, every time they need a loan, they just come right to us. They love us. Give them 5.9. They don't ask no question. Give them 6.29. Give them 7.2, whatever. They're not going to shop. No, we don't want that. So, all right, y'all. So I will be back for another segment. These are the things we're going to continue to do. We'll be live on all 4 platforms. We look to partner with more platforms in the future. So if there's a platform that y'all think we should be on streaming, let us know. Right now, we are, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. So it's been great. We had probably, consistently 400 or 500 people on here. And so if you want to get your book at 75% off, as long as the timer hasn't come down, you should click the TikTok bio. Name of the book is Car Shopping for People That Hate Car Shopping. If you Google it, you'll see it's already rated 4.94 on Goodreads. We have 31 reviews. So we're on our way to being a 5-star bestseller. And it's really the people using it. So I want you all to use it. Get it for 75% off. Normal price is $97. Download it immediately. Start to use it. If you're on YouTube or Facebook, you can scan the QR code and get your copy, or go to Deshone's book. Mm-hmm. Yes, Mandy. Facebook is the same handle. Deshone the Auto Advisor on every channel, whether it's YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. It's always Deshone the Auto Advisor. So we'll be back to answer more questions. We'll be talking more about leasing, but we'll be talking more about deal structure, shopping, how to check and make sure cars are reliable. There's a lot of cars going out here with bad reliability ratings, bad longevity ratings. So they are not the cars that we need to be buying for keepers. We got things we got to look out for, y'all. Like this is the tip of the iceberg. We're buying a car to keep. You know how many people have bought a car, it wasn't quality? We didn't check longevity. I thought I was going to keep it 8 years, 10 years, but car started giving me issues, transmission issues at 80,000 miles. I didn't know that. We got to make sure we're checking these things. We got to make sure we look into every, so we'll break this down step by step. I'll be going over my system, my 7-step system, and just going deep with pieces of it and answering you guys' questions. Borrow against your money in the bank. Yeah, that's fine. Whatever gets you the biggest net return, Tina. She said, I don't get loans, borrow against your money in the bank. As long as, just whatever gets you the best net return. I'm just here to tell you that interest isn't the only loss on money. Opportunity cost is a loss when it comes to financial. If you were taking a class on finance, opportunity cost is real. If I could have put my money in something and made 10% on it, but my money was in a car and I didn't have that money, and that money is losing me 10% in the car. So let's just say I put the 20 grand in the car, and then every year that 20 grand is worth 2,000 less, then I'm losing. It's a negative 10% return every year on that 20 grand. When I could have had that 20 grand somewhere getting me 10%, use the bank's money at 4%, and now I'm still at a net positive when it comes to, am I richer at the end of the year? Am I richer at the end of the month? So I just say that to say we've been taught when it comes to finance, we just talk interest. Oh, I don't want to pay interest. I don't want to pay interest. But I'm here to make sure everyone knows the total package of why people who don't pay cash for cars, who could afford to, who literally can write $100,000 check for anything they want, why they don't. See, I'm not interested in, I'm interested in why the people who could pay cash for cars choose not to. And it's not what you've been taught. Some of it's not because, they just love debt. No, these people have paid off houses. So these are the things that we're going to be talking about. So, and again, all in my book. If you want it all in one place, grab your copy. But yeah, this was a great segment. We will certainly be back. Always a pleasure. And just make sure you're subscribed so you do get notifications when we go live. Make sure you're subscribed on TikTok. Make sure you're following so that when we're live, you can jump on because we're going to be doing this a lot. All right. I'll see y'all soon. God bless everybody. Listen, if you are car shopping now or in the next 12 months, I want you to type me in the comments. No matter where you are, I want you to type me in the comments. We are live on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, as well as TikTok. Good to see you, Colette. Good to see you, Andrew. After you come in, we haven't done this in a while because I'm just getting back into going live. But if you've been with us for a little bit, we do a roll call. Where are you checking in at? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on what time. I see you, South Carolina. Okay. As you come in, if you're on TikTok, could you hit the like button and just, let TikTok know that we're going to be spending some time here. We're going to be talking about some serious money as you come in. If you could like the broadcast, if you're into financial literacy, this is the Auto Advisors. Like this, the name of this segment here is the Auto Advisors. We're going to be doing car Q&A. If you don't know me, this may be your first time seeing me. My name is Deshone. I'm publicly known as Deshone the Auto Advisor. I spent 14 years in the car business before I left in 2020 to focus on teaching people. I see we got Jacksonville, Florida. We got Houston. Okay. We got a couple hundred people on already between all the platforms. We have Philly in the house. I see you. As you come in, just get your questions ready. What I'm going to be doing is going over various topics and doing lots of Q&A. So we're going to be spending this time y'all going to hear me go from things like leasing versus buying to things like structuring your deal and budgeting, all with the goal of helping you get below market car deals. So as you come in, if you could tag somebody, I promise you, here's what's going to happen. If one of your friends finds out that you've been following me, following the channel, using what we talk about over here to save money on cars, and then you didn't tag them and they find out later, man, I found this guy, Deshone, he's on, and you're like, hey, yeah, I've been following him for years. And they're like, man, why didn't you tag me? Why didn't you share the wisdom? So I want you to definitely do that. And I guarantee your friends will thank you. So as we come in, let's get ready for Q&A. I just want to make sure I did all the housekeeping. My new digital book, Car Shopping for People That Hate Car Shopping, is on sale right now. It's 75% off for our launch, so it will be 75% off the whole time that we're on. If you're seeing this video, you can go to deshonesbook.com, get your copy for 75% off. It's a digital book, and it's digital for a reason, y'all. It must be. I got links in there. I got links to scripts that you're going to be using. I don't want you guys having unpredictable car buying experiences. I want to see you having very predictable, controlled experiences. And in order for you to do that, you have to know what to say. And so I'm going to be talking about all of that. We'll be talking about all of this while we're on. So let's get to the Q&A. I just want to make sure you know, if you're on TikTok, you could go to my TikTok bio, get your copy. It's on sale for a couple minutes for 75% off. And then if you're on Instagram, you could go to my bio. If you're watching online, you can go to Deshone's book, or you can scan the QR code. All right, so let's get into it. Let me just make sure I can see the comments on Instagram. Let's see if I go live here. And okay. Can you talk about, this is Kira from TikTok. She said, can you talk about turning in a lease vehicle to another dealership to lease their vehicle? Very good question. We don't want to turn in lease vehicles without making sure we can't make any money on them. Some people have asked, do we have equity in every car? Equity is not in every car, but you do need to check if you have equity before you return your vehicle. Here's how we do it. We're going to call our bank. We're going to get our payoff. We need to get our payoff. You don't want the residual value, because the residual value doesn't include any payment you have, anything. You need the payoff. And what that's going to do is tell you the price that you could buy the car for. Now, there's a customer payoff. Can we light up the likes on TikTok, please, so we could get some attention and let people know we setting people free financially. If you're on YouTube, if you're on Facebook, if you could like the broadcast and tag somebody, I promise they'll thank you. So the first thing we're doing, y'all, we're never returning our leases. We are never returning our leases without doing an equity assessment. We got to check to see if we have any equity in our vehicle. We get our payoff, and then we're going to get at least 5 cash offers. At least 5 cash offers. What does that look like? That means you're getting offers from Vroom's out of business. Driveway, you're getting offers from, and I'm going to tell you, when you do this, if you are selling a lease, you must put no when it asks, is the vehicle a lease? You must put no. And I'm going to tell you why. The way these companies are set up, they're set up to buy vehicles. But in 2022, 2021, when they saw us making all this money selling our leases, a lot of the auto companies got, the banks implemented what's known as a third-party restriction, which doesn't limit if you can sell your vehicle. It doesn't. It limits who you can sell it to. So we got to ask our banks, do I have a third-party restriction? And the way these buyers' websites are set up, the ones I just named, the Driveways, the AutoNations, the Kelly's Blue Book Instant Cash Offers, these are people who literally inspect your car, give you a check the same day, CarMax, Carvana, and we must get offers from all of them. See, we don't realize, as y'all learn more about saving thousands effortlessly and easily, you're going to learn it comes through bids. It comes through bids. It doesn't come through giving one person an opportunity to buy your vehicle. We must get bids. When we let the market bid on our vehicles, we're going to win every single time. We're never going to worry about if we overspent. We're never going to worry. This is all in the book. So everything I'm teaching y'all on this live and in my free vid, it's all in my book, step by step, 75% off, get yours. But you have to know exactly what the market will pay for our vehicle. We must know that, and that's very easy to do. Going to these websites, getting these offers. Their offers are really good. They put their best foot forward. Sometimes the dealerships, which are Kelly's Blue Book, Instant Cash Offer, AutoNation, they might try to, what they're trying to do is put a number online and see if they can stand by it. So we got to make sure we're very accurate when we tell people how much, what the condition is of our vehicle. But then we're getting offers. So if you get those offers, y'all, and you see that those offers are 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 more than your payoff, then that means you have equity. If it's 4 or 5, that means you have equity. And here's what you got to know. The customer payoff for our leases, when we're done, we're still talking about answering this young lady's question about what the lease in process is. She asks, should we return a lease and lease another vehicle from the same dealer or a different dealer? What I'm trying to tell y'all and get across to y'all is all of our transactions from now on, who we sell our car to, that's going to be different than who we buy our car from. See, y'all know that the car business has programmed us to give the dealership 3 transactions. We're going to buy a car from them. A lot of times we're going to trade our cars in, and then we're going to get our financing from them. What I'm telling y'all is, as you use what I teach and you really want to save thousands and thousands and guarantee your best deal, if you want to guarantee every time you get a car, it's your best price possible, type me in the comments. If you want to just type a G for guarantee. I want to know every time. In order for y'all to do this, we got to start separating our transactions. So I see you, Terry. I see you, Israel. I see. Okay, so we all type in G's. This is what we must do to guarantee that we got the best price car. I see you, Father of Legends. I see you, Johnny Martinez. All right, we live on every platform. So when we are shopping, when assessing our equity is the first thing we do after we decide if we're leasing or purchasing. I'm telling y'all that in the steps of car buying, we got to know what order we do things. It's just like baking a cake. If we put the eggs in first and then we put the milk, and it said, no, don't put the milk in until, I don't know, you've let the thing sit for 10 minutes. You just put the milk in, it's not going to be right? So order is important. Shout out to the sharers. I appreciate it. And listen, I appreciate everybody who shares. I appreciate everybody who helps us spread this message. And in time, we're going to do something great for the sharers, because we can't do this without y'all telling people about it. So this is the equity assessment. We don't worry about what car we're going to buy yet. We don't worry about who we're going to get our loan from yet. Here's why. Until we know what our equity position is, we don't know what we're doing. Example, if you run your equity, you find out you got $3,000. Well, that money is as good as cash in your pocket, or you can put it into your next transaction, or you can put half in your pocket, half into the next transaction. Y'all see why knowing your equity position is super important? Here's another reason. Let's say we have negative equity. Negative equity means we owe more than the car is worth. In my book, I talk about, and you'll hear me talk about it in my free videos, there's only 3 things you can do with negative equity. You can pay it off. I call it paying the difference. You take the highest offer. If it's like $2,000 or $3,000 different, you just pay it off and you're now done with it. No baggage. You can transfer it within limits, though. So when you go to transfer negative equity over, this is where we get to the point where negative equity can either stop our deals or it can literally kill our deal. The bank is only going to approve a certain amount above the value of the car we buy. So let's say we're buying a $20,000 car. The bank's not going to approve $30,000, $40,000, $50,000. They're going to look at the price and say, wait, car's worth 20. We might lend 26, depending on the customer's credit, but we're not lending 30. We're not lending 35 on a $20,000 car, which means if you have $8,000, $10,000 of negative equity, you can't transfer all of that over, because you're going above the loan to value ratios. This is why negative equity, knowing the cause, is important. And there's 2 causes. You don't understand leasing, and you're switching cars with loans on them. If there's an emergency, we understand that. I see y'all. Shout it out. We live. Literally, I see between all the platforms, we got about 400 or 500 people on here right now. So shout it out. Can we get the TikTok likes up? Can y'all keep tapping the screen on TikTok? Let's make some noise over on TikTok. But we're doing great. So this is why we can't move on. But I'm telling y'all, 99 times out of 100, I've been in the car business since 2006. I left in 2020. And it hasn't changed. The cause of negative equity, 99 times out of 100, is you don't understand leasing. You buy cars, you're not keeping them long enough to pay them off and win with the depreciation. It's not just paying off the car. Some people say, oh, Deshone, I pay off my cars in 2-3 years. But your car's depreciated value is what you need to try to avoid. You need to try to avoid taking depreciation hits. And what y'all going to learn more from me is the 8-year rule. I've already done the math. I'm going to show it to you in time, if you just stick with us. But if you believe me right from the start, you're going to win. If you're not keeping cars 8 years, you're losing thousands of dollars not leasing cars. Does not matter how much you drive. Does not matter. Here's why. Here's why. I'm gonna listen. Who was taught? Oh, we all right. We lighting up the likes on TikTok. All right. I appreciate you, TikTok. Appreciate all of this. Let me ask you a question. Everybody on here. Who was taught never to lease cars? Be honest. I want you to type never in the comments. If you were taught never lease cars, if you've heard that from someone, I want you to type that in the comments. Here's why this is so important. This is all in my book. My book is called Car Shopping for People That Hate Car Shopping. It's a digital book. And for the grand opening, it's not a store. For the for the launch of the book, the official launch, we're doing 75% off for everybody. So you could go to my TikTok bio, you could go to my Instagram bio, you could go to deshonsbook.com, or you can scan the QR code and you can get your book for 75% off for a couple minutes. So look, so we have a lot of people who were taught never lease a car, never lease a car. Let me tell y'all how much. I'm gonna give you a little sense on how much that's cost you, and then we'll go deeper. Everybody, let's say you're a person who keeps their cars until the wheels fall off. We call those cars keepers. If your next car is going to be a keeper, type K. That means I'm gonna keep this thing until the wheels fall off. I'm gonna keep this thing 8 years minimum, 10, 12, 15. That's what I do. I see you, Abby. Now, the benefit about buying a car and keeping 8+ years is you get to outlive all the depreciation. Your car loses X% of value the day you get it. And whether you drive it or not, if somebody came and parked a car outside your house right now and said, hey, this car is worth $30,000, it's yours. Now you say, I don't drive. I already got a car. I don't need it. You come out a year later, is that car worth $30,000? You didn't drive it. See, this is your first, you didn't put a mile on it. You didn't touch it. It just stayed out there. It was worth 30 when they dropped it off. Is it worth 30 today? A year later. Exactly. Here's what I'm telling y'all. That's the first deep lesson on depreciation. See, if you get that, now you're getting the clue of why leasing is not about how much you drive. People who say, oh, I like to drive as much as I want to, so I buy my cars because I don't want to pay for the mileage. Here's the revelation. You pay for the usage of the car, whether you use it or not, whether you drive it or not. It's going down. The more usage you put on it, the faster it goes down. So leasing is not a matter of how much I drive. Leasing is if I get a great lease deal. We're going to talk about that. All lease deals aren't created equal. And these commercials we see that say, hey, 3,000 down, 8,000. These are not lease deals. I'm going to show y'all some lease deals over, I'll actually probably show y'all one in the next couple minutes. Great lease deals are not advertised. They're made in secret. No one really knows about them. The great lease deals are not advertised. Great deals are not advertised. Great deals are not advertised. So you can't judge the lease pricing by what y'all see in these commercials, or it's not going to make sense to you. But when you get great lease deals, it is no comparison. The name of the game is, will I pay less with a great lease deal in depreciation than I would pay if I purchased that car? That is the name of the game. And when I look and see, all right, if I get a great lease deal, I'm only paying 30% of the car's value, 35, 40%, 45%. But if I bought that car, regardless of whether I pay cash, regardless of whether I got a loan on it, the asset, the value of the car is going to go down by more than that. So what we're doing when we're leasing versus buying is we're trying to hedge against depreciation. We're trying to acquire a car that says, based on how I got this car and the price I'm paying for it over 3 years, it's thousands less than if I would have went and purchased that same car and just took the value of the depreciation. And this is what I'm telling y'all. They've hid you can't understand this when you're just tied into payments. And a lot of you know payments have nothing to do. Some of you who are a little bit more financially savvy, you know payments have nothing to do with the deal on the car. If you don't know that, you're going to learn that the more you hang out here. Payments have nothing to do with the price of the car, the deal on the car. That's just the financial tool. That's just what you've attached to the asset. If you go and you overpay $10,000 for the car, doesn't matter if you got a loan on it. Doesn't matter if you did no money down. You overpaid by $10,000 for the car itself. That's focusing on the asset. So leasing, y'all, is for people who don't keep their cars more than 8 years. It's that simple. If you do not keep your cars more than 8 years, you cannot outlive the depreciation that the car is losing. The money, you go out, slap 30 grand into a car, that car is losing money for you every single month. So you're trying to say, is there another way I could get a car where I'm not paying this kind of money? If I'm losing $500 of value every month in my car, is there a way that I can lose less than that? And what I'm going to show y'all is leasing is just the way. So these are the first two steps. The young lady asked the question about returning her lease, but I want y'all to know that that's step 2. We assess, can we make any money on our deal, on our old car? And then, but the first thing we got to do is decide buying versus leasing. Lease the loan. Good Time said, lease the loan car was good. Welcome to everybody that jumped on. My digital book, Car Shopping for People That Hate Car Shopping. Everything, it's 75% off. You can get your copy while we're on here, but we're going to be going deep on Q&A for at least, I'm not even watching the clock. So just go to my TikTok. I don't think you're going to leave the broadcast either. If you go get your copy, go to my TikTok bio, go to my Instagram bio. If you're on Instagram, wherever you're at, if you're on YouTube, scan the QR code or go to deshonethebook.com and get your copy so that we can go deep on this. I don't want you trying to just remember everything that I'm teaching. I want you to have a reference point, and it's affordable for everybody. It's normally $97. Okay, let's go. Things are way too complicated to fix now. I guess you're talking about when it comes to cars, electronics. Another reason people don't feel as confident keeping their cars like they used to is because the cars are getting a little bit more complex. It used to be very simple for you to find a good car, keep it 10, 12, 15 years. There's still cars out there that you can confidently do that if you make sure that you're checking the reliability of the car, checking the longevity of the car. We do this on Google. We have to make sure the cars we're buying are good cars. Then we can certainly avoid, a lot of these cars. But yes, that is a lot of people don't feel as confident keeping cars long term as they used to. How about a lease to buy at the end compared to straight out buying? Cousin Al, that's a good question. He said, how about buying a lease to purchase? Who's heard of that? Who's heard that term before? A lease to buy on a car. You may have heard it with a house. If you've heard that, if you've heard that, let me tell you why that's a bad idea. We're mixing two strategies. See, there's nothing better than for the long-term person than us buying a long-term car, making sure we pay less than everyone else. That we're going to do that. We're going to get, you stay around me, you learn from what I do, what I teach. You're going to get below market car deals, new cars, leases, pre-owned cars. The best way to save the most money on a car is to buy it. You could decide new or pre-owned, it's really pre-owned, and you keep the thing 10, 12, 15 years because your cost per year is going to be so low. When you look at how much money you paid for the car over the long run, it's going to be like, wow, I only paid $2,000 per year, $500, the longer you keep. The second best way is buy a new car, keep it forever. Brand new, keep that thing 12, 15 years. But most people are not doing that. And if you're not going to do that, that doesn't mean you can't switch up. But if you say, Deshone, for my next car, can we keep sending the TikTok likes up? If y'all are enjoying this, could y'all please hit the like button? We got probably 400 or 500 people on here still. If you could hit the like button, that would be great. And I see all the gifts. Thank you. Everybody who's sending roses on TikTok, gifts and all of that, stars. Thank y'all very much. But what you got to know is, what is the strategy for this next car? Is that 8+ years? Then I'll buy it. There's nothing better than that. I'm going to buy it, but you got to realize buying comes with what, y'all? Maintenance, upkeep, repairs. That's what it comes with. But we win when we buy. We win 8, 9, 10, 15 years later is when we win with a purchase. You don't win with a purchase 3, 4, 5 years because the person who's leasing is paying so much less than you. If they got a great deal, they're paying so much less than you to drive a brand new car. It doesn't, like, you don't win. You can't win. But in the long run, you will. So you got to ask yourself, this next car, is it 8+ years or is it less than 8 years? And if it's less than 8 years, then I got to go to my lease strategy. And that could be for my, you know how many people out here, y'all, they're like, oh man, I buy my cars, I keep it till the wheels fall off. I'm not leasing. Yeah, but what about your spouse? What about your children? That car you buying for your 22-year-old college student, are you think they keeping that car for 8 years like you are? No, probably not. Then you should be thinking about, you shouldn't even be thinking about, you should be going to the lease play for them. You know how many people have put their kids in a $21,000 car paying $500 a month, $20,000 Toyota Corolla, paying $500 a month because they wanted to buy them their first car, and they go get them a $20,000 Corolla that they could be leasing for $300 a month. And then that kid wakes up in 3 years and they're like, man, I'm paying $450 a month for a Corolla. I don't really like the car. Plus it's kind of expensive. This is what happens. I've seen it millions of times. Some of you may have experienced this. Your first car might have been like that. Maybe your parents went and got you your first car and purchased it. But I'm telling you that if they understood leasing, they could, especially if you were going to pay the bill, they would understand. We're not keeping this car long enough. We should be leasing it. And so I'm going to keep hammering now. I'm never going to stop hammering because we got years and years of bad information that we got to unravel. People who've been doing damage, y'all. Big audiences, big platforms, just telling people, oh, leasing is the most expensive way to own a car. Guarantee you, if I had 10 minutes on them with a live and I bet them $100,000, are you willing to bet 100? Let me just ask you, you sound very confident when you're talking to the public. They don't realize how much money they're costing you. So my question would be, if I can show you that advice you're giving them is completely wrong financially, will you pay me $100,000? Will you take the bet? Because if you're willing to say that, stand on it. That's what they tell y'all. Exactly. He said that's what they tell us. See, and that's why I'm here. That's why it's very important what we do. That's why it's important when you share, when you tell somebody about these broadcasts, when you tell somebody, watch what they're doing over there at the we're coming in to unravel years of bad advice. And a big part of that is leasing. Not the only part, but a big part of that is leasing. But you cannot, all lease deals aren't created equal, y'all. Lease deals are when we shop for lease deals, you must get bids. And I'm telling y'all, you must get bids for everything. We'll talk more about that as we continue to go on. All right, let's get to some more questions. Why are taxes added to a buyout when they're already included in the paid? Somebody said, Christina on TikTok said, why is taxes added to the lease buyout price when it's already included in the monthly payment? Well, it's only included in the payment for the portion of the car you're leasing. So when you're paying for, your 30, 40% of the car, 50%, the better lease deal you got, the lower percentage of the car you're paying towards over 3 years. That's what the tax is calculated on. That back end, which is when the car goes back to the bank or the next buyer, there's no taxes factored in on that. Depending on your state, sometimes they will put tax on the payment, but they're not usually, I don't recall ever seeing a case where they're taxing you on the whole car because you're not using that portion of the car. That's why when you lease, when you look on your credit report, you'll see the only part you're responsible for is the part that you're using. So even though the car might be 40 grand, it might say balance owed 18 because you're only responsible for that 14. You're not responsible for the back end. All right, we lighten up the likes on TikTok. Appreciate y'all. I see you, Lisa Vasquez. Welcome. Kat, I see you. All right, let's go. Let's continue to rotate questions. What happens to my down payment on the lease? See, a lot of people asking about leasing. This is good. This just goes to tell you something. You know, a lot more y'all gonna lease when you understand it. In fact, when you understand it, your next car will be a lease. Quite honestly, unless you can guarantee me, Deshone, I'm keeping it 8 years. If you say, Deshone, I'm keeping this thing 8 years, you go ahead and buy it. Don't think about leasing. Go ahead and buy it. But if you cannot confidently say I'm keeping this car at least 8 years, and you're gonna learn, I'm gonna do a upcoming show where I show y'all my screen. So if you're on TikTok, make sure you're on YouTube or make sure you're on Facebook. If you're on Instagram, because y'all are not going to be able to see my computer screen when I actually go deep and show everybody, my screen and we compare. I'm going to show you all the numbers because I'm not going to sit here and I don't want y'all thinking this is my opinion. This is by the numbers. So Good Time says, what happened to my down payment on the lease? So you should only do a down payment on the lease after you've already verified you got a great deal. Pay attention. This is very important. Once you down payments, y'all, never come into play until we verify we got a great deal. This is all in my book, Car Shopping for People That Hate Car Shopping, my digital book. You can download your copy. Go to deshonsbook.com. It's 75% off for a couple minutes. You won't leave the broadcast, but I don't want you to miss the opportunity. The book is great value at $97. But for our official book launch, we're doing 75% off. So you can scan the QR code or go to my Instagram or TikTok bio, get your 75% off book. So when you are doing a down payment, whether you're purchasing or whether you are leasing, it's critical that we verify we got a great deal on the car before we ever talk about payments. This has always been. How many of you have had this question? You're looking at a car and they say, hey, what do you want the payment to be? What's your goal? What's your goal for your payment? Type a dollar sign if you've heard that question. What's your goal for the payment? Thank you, Say What. I appreciate all the compliment. I appreciate it. If you've heard that question, type a dollar sign. What do you want your payment to be? What's your payment goal, right? Here's why that's not important. And here's why you never feed into that. If you feed into that, you run the risk of focusing on the payment structure and not the price of the car. You also run the risk of focusing on the payment structure and not shopping for your own interest rate and letting banks bid on your loan. When we do an episode, we'll do a show that is about structuring our deals, and you'll see that when we start getting our financing, y'all, we never want to let anyone run our credit until after we found our car. Because what people are trying to do, y'all, is they're trying to run your credit and they're trying to give you a time limit. Now you have a hard inquiry, but you also have a time limit to go find a car. That's not good. They might give you 30 days or 45 days, 90 days before the approval expires. It's usually 30, 45. That's a problem because now we're out there rushing. But when it comes to down payments, we are only structuring our deals after we found our car. So I teach you how to get bids on your lease. Get bids on your lease, get bids when you're buying a new car. Once you find the dealer that gives you the lowest bid, now you come in and you see how you want to structure the deal. You must get bids first. And the way we shop for leases, I'll tell you about how we shop for purchases too. But the way we shop for leases, we must get all these offers because there's so much money that could be hidden in a lease. It's ridiculous. People would love for y'all to come in and lease and come in and say, oh man, Deshone said, I'm gonna start leasing. Now you go in and they structure you a lease deal. It looks better than a purchase, but it's still not a good deal. So that's why we gotta know when we are shopping for leases, we are always shopping offers with, here's how you shop them. This is in the book, but if y'all want to try to remember this, be my guest. You are getting your lease deals, your offers with first month's payment total out of pocket. First month's payment. When when you shop for a brand new car, you are always getting your offers with tax, title, license, all fees included. When you shop for a brand new car, you're getting your offers from multiple dealerships. I do this online. You can call them. I would suggest you do it my way. But if you want to call them, you can talk to a sales manager and you say, hey, I got this car. I'm looking to see if you got something similar, but I need an offer with all taxes, fees, everything included. And now you're comparing that. But I would only talk to a sales manager if you're going to go that route. Again, in my book, I teach you the scripts. I got the emails that we use to do this because you want to use my words. But if you're not going to use what's in the book, you should be calling and asking for a sales manager and just give them an opportunity to beat the quote. That's a manual way to do it, but it's still better than you going back and forth with one dealer. We cannot go back and forth with one dealer anymore because when you start getting bids, mark my word, it's going to blow your mind when you see how overpriced some dealers are. When you see how overpriced some dealers are, it's going to blow your mind. So in order for you to shop your lease quotes, you're shopping your lease quotes with no money down, so good time. When you talk about what happens to your down payment on a lease, well, you're not putting your down payment down until you got a great lease deal. So you get your lease deal, first payment, and then you divide that into the monthly payment. Into the MSRP. Very important. Let me give you all an example. Pull up my calculator. So let's say I got an offer of $500 a month on a $40,000 car. That's what's called a 1.25% lease. You take the monthly payment and you divide it into the MSRP. That gives you a percentage. The lower percentage, the better the deal. And this originated from who's heard me mention the 1.5% rule for bad lease deals? Type me if you've heard that. No, you don't have to tell them you're pre-qualified before you go. It's not even a question. We're just shopping for the price of a car. So you've heard, okay. So, see, and I looked at another question while I was in the middle of answering one. So, wait, we were talking about lease quotes. We were talking about, okay, that's right. The 1.5% rule. So when y'all hear me mention the 1.5% rule, I'm telling y'all, again, it goes back to the fact the lease, the name of the game with a lease is how much can I pay for a car over 3 years that I'm giving back? The lower, the better. So since the beginning of time, people who got great lease deals knew about the 1% rule. The 1% rule said, if I buy a car, if my lease payment is 1% of the MSRP or below, it's a steal. So if I'm looking at a $40,000 car and my lease payment on it, 12,000 miles per year, is $400 a month, no money out. No money. I know that y'all may have been taught, yo, you got to put money down when you lease. That is a lie. I'm going to be peeling back a lot of lies, a lot of misconceptions, a lot of bad belief systems that we've picked up, and we're going to tear those down. So money down with a lease is absolutely not a requirement. So when we're getting our lease deals, example, 2018, I leased a 2018 Jeep Grand Cherokee Laredo. It was $35,000. I gave him $330 a month and I drove off. That was my payment. 39-month lease. We'll talk about in the future. We don't do 4-year leases. We'll talk about that in the future. But that's the 1% rule. 1%. Now look at that. Think about value, y'all. You drive off the lot in a brand new $35,000 car and you're paying $330 a month. That's under 1%. So these are steals. I call these steals. You ever see a lease deal like that? It's not a deal. It's a steal. Now, in order to get that type of deal, you need a great lease program. So we can't. So it's not just like, oh, every car has a 1% deal. No, if they don't have a ton of rebates, if they don't have a good residual value, if they don't have a good rate, then it's not going to happen. But in the long run, we can't control that. All we can control is how we're going to shop. And the way we shop is get your first month's payment. Is you tell every dealer, give me a quote with first month's payment and put all the taxes and all the fees into the monthly payment. And then you let me know what that is. And you have to know the MSRP because you divide that monthly payment into the MSRP And that's going to tell you the percentage. If you see 1.35, 1.45, 1, these are good deals, really good deals. We still need to compare, because I got people who are getting, look, if we don't compare, you could be in trouble. You don't want to just take a deal. There are people who think, oh, I thought a 1.25 was a great deal, and then I end up getting 1.1. You know, so we can't ever assume what's a great deal. We just have to know what a bad deal is. That's over 1.5%. They got me on one of my last leads. Listen, good time. Don't feel bad, man. It is something a lot of people are going to discover the more you work with me, that you have overpaid. But there's been no one to tell you. So there's been no one to tell you. So 1% still, 1% 5 is the max. Exactly, K-Dub. That's the exact formula and ratios we use for measuring great lease deals. 1% or lower is a steal. Between 1% and 1.5 is a deal. That's great value compared to purchasing. So when someone drives off the lot with a great value lease, 1.25, anything under 1.5, they're paying less than someone who purchased. They're paying less than someone who purchased. Once you get above 1.5, you're now going close to spending the same amount as the person who bought the vehicle, which we don't want, which we can't do. We eliminate the benefits of leasing. And some lease programs y'all are going to see are bad. You shop multiple offers and the lease programs are bad. We can't get those leases. I will never co-sign, because leasing is a value play. I will never co-sign you getting a car because you like the car a lot and overpaying for a lease, because the lease program is bad. Sometimes, I want a Range Rover Velar. The lease program is bad. All right, well, I'm going to go get a Genesis GV870. And then, maybe in 3 years, the Range Rover lease program will be good. But right now, I'm not going to do it, because no one loves a car that they're leasing. You always just like it. If you're leasing, you're switching cars every 3 years. You don't love anything. When you love a car, you buy it, you keep the thing 10 years. That's love. But typically, a person who's not keeping their car long term, you get, you 3 years, you're like, okay, I could get another car. 5 years, people who buy cars to keep, they don't think like that. Like, they ain't even looking for a reason to get rid of it until, transmission goes out. And then I always joke, because as a keeper, what do you do when the transmission goes out? If anybody on here has bought their cars and kept them till the wheels fall off, when the transmission goes out, what do you do? What do you do? See, you're not a keeper. You're not buying a car to be a keeper. That transmission go out, you ready to get rid of it. You ready to get rid of it. Look, a lot of people are like, no, I go fix it. I go get another transmission. Exactly. All right, let's keep the questions moving. Welcome to the people who just jumped on. Happy to have you. If you're enjoying the broadcast, could you please make sure you are subscribed to us on YouTube? That's where we're going to be able to share, really, when we get into, which is coming very soon, I'm going to be sharing visuals for y'all to see. Just sharing a variety of things, websites that we use, things you want to stay away from, website, like, all in my book. But in time, you're going to want to see it on YouTube, because you might not be able to see it on Instagram or TikTok. What's the MSRP equivalent for used cars? F Broncos asked. Here's what who's purchased a used car? Type a U. If you purchased a used car before, type a U. Type a U if you've purchased a used car before. Okay, I see Al Boogie, I see FL Bronco, I see Amor, I see Justine. Okay, every platform. Ebony Eyes. Okay, Larica. All right, I'm gonna give y'all the biggest. This is gonna be major, y'all. And you're gonna see, like, wow, how the heck could we even know we're getting a good used car deal without knowing this? Tell y'all how important it is to have the original MSRP of the car you're purchasing. So I have a 2020 Infiniti QX 60 truck. I bought it a year ago. It was 3 years old. Now I saved 42% off the price when it was brand new. Here's why it's important. We don't know when we're shopping on these used car websites. I call them marketplaces. Y'all are going to hear see in my book, if you do get my book, or even in my videos, you'll hear me talk about the multiple marketplace strategy, where we're on these used car marketplaces. We got to be on all of them. But here's what they try to sell you on, because it's based on who's paying them. They're trying to sell you on market value. They're the true way to buy a pre-owned car, after you check to make sure it's a good one. But I'm talking about, how do we know we got a great price on it? We must know how much it was brand new. We must know how much the car was brand new. Give you an example. I was looking at this Infiniti truck. I had narrowed it down to my top 3 or 4. I think I narrowed it down to my top 4. Now they're all white. They all look similar. They're all in similar price points. How do we choose? This is where we usually are stuck. And this is where we usually make a bad decision. I'm going to tell you why. I get the MSRP of these cars. By the way, my special strategy for getting the MSRP, one of them is to go to the dealer's website. Most dealers have a contract with Carfax, and that car will be on their website. That's my first line of defense. Again, everything I'm talking about, y'all, I don't hold back. It's in my book, or it's going to be in my free videos. But some people want everything in one spot. One spot, step by step. That's what the book is. 75% off in my bios, or go to Deshone's book or scan the QR code. So I look and I pull the MSRP, the window sticker, for all of these vehicles, and what do I see? The 4 vehicles, the original price of them, one is 46, one's 48, one's 52, one's 54. Why is this so important, y'all? They've taught y'all to buy used cars based on what? Nothing. This is what we're asking for the car. Okay, I think I see some less than that. If all of these cars were 31,000, but one was 54, that's the best deal. In fact, none of those other deals are even close. That car right there has more packages in it, more equipment in it, special features in it. Those other cars don't. So the percentage of the discount that I'm getting off the car is higher here. Does not matter what the dealer's asking for the car. See, we've been taught, you go and you focus on trying to get the dealer's price down. That is true in some cases. But what's more important is I need to know, based on what the dealer's asking for the car, how much off MSRP, original MSRP, am I actually saving? Is it 30%? Is it 40%? Because I might look at this car here, and yeah, they might be asking $1,000 less for it, but the original equipment in that car is $5,000 less equipment. This is why it's very important. It's critical. I would not buy a used car, and I would never recommend you buy a used car without seeing the original MSRP, so you know, one, what's in the car, what features it has, but more importantly, I cannot determine who saved me the most money. I can't determine who gave me my best deal without knowing what the car was originally priced at from the day it came into the country. And y'all, unfortunately, and I hope it's nobody on here, but unfortunately, we probably do have it, where during the pandemic, people were paying 90, 95, 100% of value for used cars. When I mean a Toyota Camry that brand new was 30, they were paying 29 for it, and it was 3 years old. See, I call this true value percentage, TVP. Y'all are going to hear this. We call this true value percentage. We can't look at a used car. See, once we see, wait a minute, based on the new price, the car when it was new, you charging me 95% of the car's value, and it's 3 years old. Once we start looking at true value percentage, car was brand new 30, you asking 25. Okay, you knocking this percentage off. This is how we make sure. Now look, that doesn't help us get quality cars. That doesn't help us stay within our budget. We'll talk about that in the next hour. Because what I'm going to be doing is I'll be doing these shows throughout the day in our segments. So what you'll see is every time I come, we'll do if there's something that we want to tie up, we'll try to do it in both hours. Again, it's very tough to go over all things and then do Q&A and just get it done in a couple minutes. So some things may continue to the next hour, but once y'all get this, it doesn't change. So although some of this might be brand new to you, I'm sure it is for a lot of you, having a system for how you shop, boundaries. But once you see how this thing works, it doesn't change. That's why I could write a book. That's why I have a library of videos that are step-by-step. The step-by-step version of my book is the Cars from Home video library, because I know we're so ahead. The car business is so old. I don't have to worry about this changing in the next year, 2 years. If anything, like Vroom went out of business, we adjust that. I might adjust that one section because Vroom's not in business anymore. But the way we teach you to purchase cars to guarantee you pay less than everyone else, to guarantee you save the most money on your loan, to guarantee you get the most money for your old cars, that's not going to change because we are just too far ahead of what the car business is doing. Welcome, welcome. Blessed said, I'm new here, been watching your shorts. Great job, homie. Good looking out. Appreciate you, man. Thank you so much. If you're not subscribed yet on YouTube, could you make sure you subscribe? Everybody who's on any other platform, if you could subscribe to us on YouTube, that's where we'll be, able to put a lot of our widescreen stuff so y'all can see. We're gonna teach, but what y'all gonna see, even in the book, it's not teaching and then you're trying to memorize it. It's just shop different. When you shop different, you'll see, oh, this is a better way to shop. And then you're going to learn by doing. It ain't learning by memorizing. Hey, thank you, Sonny. Said, just purchased my ebook. Thanks for sharing. My pleasure. Everybody could get it for 75% off in my TikTok bio or my Instagram bio, or you could go to deshonsbook.com or scan the QR code, no matter where you're at. Let's see. I'm new here, but hold on. I got that. Hold on. Let's go. I still can't see the questions on Instagram. For some reason, I can't see the questions on Instagram. We got to figure that out. Now, here's what I will say. If you stay on long enough, somebody's going to ask you a question, because a lot of you, it's going to surprise you, but I know it. We've been working with people long enough to know a lot of you have the same situation, literally. So you stay on, even if you don't, your question doesn't get answered, you'll hear somebody that's, oh, that's the exact same situation that I'm in. Josie said, I really need help. I'm interested in buying a 2001 H1 with 70,000 miles, 75,000. Should I go for a 40,000 of 50K? I don't really understand that. I really need help. I'm interested in buying a 2001 H1 with 75,000. Should I go for 40 or 50K? So I'm guessing you're saying I'm buying a 2001 Hummer with 75,000 miles, or either is that asking price is 75,000? Should I go for 40 or 50K? No, we go for whoever wins the bid. See, we can't get into, here's where this could hurt us sometimes. You know what we do? We save a certain amount off the price of a car, and then we want to carry it to our next deal and say, well, we should save the same amount on this car. No, because we don't know what the programs were that allowed us to save 7,000 off that car. And I'm talking about new. Pre-owned cars, this is different. Pre-owned cars, you go to the market and you see who has the lowest car for the money. So we're not going local. It's two favorite words, y'all. And some of you, let me see who's been with me for a minute. See if anybody knows. What's my two favorite words when it comes to saving money? And again, I haven't been live and we haven't done this in a does anyone remember favorite words? Y'all wouldn't know on YouTube, I don't think, unless I used to say this a lot on TikTok. Oh, Alicia said they got kicked out of Instagram. Okay, so come on over to TikTok. All right, it still says we got a lot of people on Instagram, but that's good to know. Okay, we'll check that out. Does anybody remember my two favorite? All right. Anyway, I'm gonna tell y'all, and now y'all will know this going forward. And I want these to be your two favorite words: multiple offers. Multiple offers. Very important. When I tell you, when you make multiple offers your two favorite words, you are going to save so much money. It's crazy. So I'm not buying something and there's only one of them out there. I don't have anything to compare it to. That'd be like me walking into the grocery store and I want chips. I really want some barbecue chips. And I go into the aisle and it's only one brand of barbecue chips. Wise Barbecue is the whole store. Now, I don't know if they're charging me a good price because I don't have anything to compare it to. They might say, oh, bag of chips, $4.99. Is that good or not? Well, we don't know. But when I see all the other options, same thing with spaghetti sauce. I need to see all the options. Same thing if some of y'all were buying a TV. If you had to buy a TV right now, if you had to buy a daggone 100-inch TV, are you worried about overpaying for it in this day and age? No, because you know, man, I'm going to go to Amazon, I'm going to go to Best Buy, I'm going to go on this Walmart.com, and by the time I see some options and see what they pricing at, I'm going to be able to choose the best one in 10, 15, 20 minutes, right? That's what comes through. That's price confidence. That's called price confidence. And the only way to have price confidence, to eliminate that feeling of, oh, did I overpay? You think I paid too much for this? Is to learn multiple offers, multiple options. So what you should be doing, Josie, is looking at so many H1s, wherever they are, that I know I'm not going to overpay because I see them all. I see where the price, and I'm going to teach y'all, this is in the book, and I'll teach y'all in my video. We set up accounts when we're shopping for a new car, because once we know where the prices are, we want to be alerted every new car that pops up. Every single used car that pops up, you want to get alert on it. You want that thing coming to your email the minute they post it, because everybody else is not going to be able to move on it because it's too fast. They need time. They need to, oh, let me see it. Okay. But if you know the used car market, like I'm going to teach you, if you know the low prices on this car is 40, the high prices is 55. Soon as that one pops up at 41, you don't have to hesitate. Speed is what gets people deals a lot of times, y'all. I've sat in front of people and I'm literally offering them, and this is back when I was in the dealership, and I'm literally offering them, like, the dealership is making no money. That's how good of a deal it is. And I'm like, listen, miss, like, I'm just telling you, we're making no money. We gave you everything. But they didn't take it. And I'm going to tell you why. I can't blame them. They didn't have enough other offers to feel confident that what I was giving them was the best. That's the problem. So in order to have price guarantee, price assurance, for us to know that we are paying less than everyone else, we have to see multiple offers. And then in order for us to guarantee that we have not, that's just what it is. Price assurance comes through multiple offers. And then we have to get a quality vehicle. Okay. So all of this I will teach. It's hard to get, maybe like a lot coming at you at once. That's why I would love for you to get the book, Car Shopping for People That Hate Car Shopping, so you could dig into it, so you can see that everything I teach is methodical. I don't want you trying to remember this. Get the book, take your 75% off for the launch of the book, and then dig in and you'll see, wow, he has this thing set up in systems so that I don't have to be trying to remember what to do. I don't want y'all trying to remember what to do when you're out here shopping for your car. I want you to have a roadmap, a blueprint, and that's what 7 Steps to Saving Time, Money, and Avoiding Dealerships is. Thank you, Curtis. Appreciate it. 10-4. Oh, 10-4. Thank you for the guidance. It's a rare vehicle. If it's a rare vehicle, that's fine, but you don't want to overpay for a rare vehicle. You need to see enough of them to know that you're not overpaying. You don't want to sit there. You know how many people got a rare house? Your value's down. I got a rare house. So if the value is going to be down, think about it. If it's rare buying, then it's rare selling too, which means your market, when you go to sell it, if you go to sell it one day, is not going to be huge. That's not a car you can sell in 24 hours unless you just want to blow it out price wise. But in order for you to make sure you don't lose, you got to make sure you buy right. You can't overspend by 10, 15 grand. So just make sure any H1 in this country, you know the price of it. That's all. If I see one over, it could be all the way over on the other side of the country. If I see the price, then I know what the market is. It doesn't matter if it's over there. If they're asking 10 grand less and it's a good car, has great service records, has great title history, has great accident history, doesn't matter. That shows me that's the market price. All right. Thank you, Josie. I'm glad. Enjoy it. You're going to be able to get to any car you want. And you have so many strategies in there for later. If you're buying a used car now, it's in there. If you're going to be leasing, it's in there. If you're going to be buying, you're going to know, all right, man, I want to get a lease for my spouse. Or, hey, you know what? I'm going to get a lease for my kid. Or you just might buy everything. But sometimes you might want to buy brand new. Sometimes you want to buy pre-owned. It's all in there. Different strategies for how you get to below market deals on each one. Uncle John said, who currently has the best lease program? It's no way to tell. Unfortunately, there's no way to tell. You cannot shop. That's the bad part. That's why when we shop, y'all, it takes us about 45 minutes to an hour to find out where the market is on a car, what the best offer is. Once you get good, like I said, if you're doing it the slow way, you could call sales managers. You get one lease price, and then you call a sales manager and see if they can match it or beat it. Or beat it rather. But if you want to do it the fast way, I go through the websites. I contact the dealers through the websites, tell them exactly what I want. We do this for 25 dealers. And then you use my scripts of telling them what you want by email, getting the quotes. And you'll know in a matter of an hour, hour and a half, where those offers are. But there's no other way. Because again, great deals aren't advertised. They're not going to advertise great deals. They'll advertise lease offers where they make money. You know, hey, bring us 35 grand. Bring us 3,500 plus taxes and fees, and your payment's $479 a month. Yeah, but you're putting down $6 grand to get there, and then no, those are not good deals. You're paying too much for a car you're giving back. So yeah, and so we'll cycle through various topics. We spent a lot this hour talking about leases, talking about leasing versus purchasing, and hitting a couple things. But what y'all will see is we'll do themes kind of each hour. I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna come back for the next hour, and we'll probably still stay on it, but we'll be able to get through more questions. Because as y'all can see, some of these questions require a little bit more deeper answer, just as if you were purchasing a house. I know they've made it seem like, oh, well, let's just ask a simple question and then let's just, it should be a super simple answer. Not when we're purchasing houses, right? It's never simple when we're purchasing houses, when we're getting mortgages, when we're investing. Why would it be simple when we're buying $20,000 to $50,000 to $100,000 vehicles that depreciate, that lose us money whether we drive them or not? That's danger. You got a real lesson on the dangers of depreciation in this hour. Like, ridiculous. You drive a car, buy it, park it outside, come back in a year, car's worth thousands less. You never drove it, never got behind the wheel one time. So when you have that type of product and you're coming into your household, it can drain you of money if you don't structure your deal in a way where you've minimized your losses. The name of the game is to minimize the amount you're losing on these cars. Cars are depreciating assets. You can't make money on them. We did have a wave for years where we were making money on cars, but that's because the resale values of these cars, it was a once in a lifetime historic moment when all of our cars were worth 12 grand, 8 grand, 15 grand more than what they would normally be worth. So, those who cashed out did very well, and we were part of the group who were really spearheading, helping people cash out while the market was high. But unfortunately, people bought while the market was high too. So this is, you know, we'll be talking more about these things every hour. So lease good for bad credit. Now, what you're gonna have to do is set yourself up. If you can't qualify for a lease and you know you should be leasing, then now your goal is to now get prepared to lease. That might take you a year or two, and we're going to talk about how we buy an inexpensive car to get set up for a lease. We don't go out and buy a $20, $30, $50,000 car when we know credit's not where we want it. But if you give me a year or two, I'll get myself up to a 650, 670. I'll use an inexpensive car to build a good payment history because I'm paying more for interest because my credit's not good. So the last thing I want to do is buy an expensive car and have a higher interest rate. Now, when I go to switch out of that car in 2 years because I'm ready to get my brand new lease, now I got 10 grand of negative equity. That's now, first it was credit stopping me from getting the lease. Now I got too much negative equity stopping me from getting the lease. These are two things we want to avoid when we're trying to set ourselves up. And the way we do it is we make sure we buy the least expensive car we could get a loan on. We want the smallest loan possible. And then we get a reliable car, and our plan is to switch out of that car in 2 years. Make the payments, pay the higher interest, but that's okay, because in 2 years, I'm driving something brand new off the lot and I'm leasing it. So that might not be the ideal car. In fact, it shouldn't be. But some people go and say, well, if I got to do that, man, I'm going to go and get the Dodge Charger with the Hemi engine, and now you're buying a $30,000 car, $25,000, and you're putting that interest on top. And now you're buried. So you're not going to be any closer to getting a lease in 2 years than you are today. We don't want that. You got to bite the bullet. And if you got a ton of money, I'll show you how to get it done. And you can get a little bit of a nicer car. If you got bad credit, but you got 10 grand, you don't have to get a $10,000 car, but we need to work these things accordingly. Because the key is a small loan, reliable car. That's the key. Okay. TikTok's telling me my live's going to end in 60 seconds. Okay, so we will be back. Y'all are going to see, like, this is going to be what we do, especially during the book launch. My new digital book, Car Shopping for People That Hate Car Shopping, has everything in it I teach. Y'all know from my videos on social media, I don't hold back information. But if you want everything in one place, in a step-by-step written format, this is where you get it. It's called Car Shopping for People That Hate Car Shopping. 7 steps to saving time, money, and avoiding dealerships. And that's going to allow you to take what I teach, mastering the art of shopping from home, mastering making dealers and banks bid against each other for your business, and so that you can be confident. But please make sure you subscribe so that you can get, and if you're on our email list, you'll get notifications of when we go live so that you can make sure you jump on. If you're in the market for a car, we want to make sure you are armed with everything you need to save tons of money. So thank you, We West Coast, a lot. Appreciate you. Instagram, we're going to get y'all involved because somehow I'm seeing some of the questions and some not. Now the questions on Instagram popping up. That is so weird. But I trust that y'all got value because, again, many of you do have the same questions. So we'll be back in the next hour. You'll get a notification if you're on our email list. Jump on. But if you get your book, I hope you enjoy it. I can't wait to hear your success stories. And I'll see you shortly. Oh, and if you need the book, it's in my TikTok bio. Some people are saying, where do I get the book? It's in my TikTok bio. Click the picture. It's in my Instagram bio. Go to the bio. Click the picture. If you're watching on or you could go to deshonsbook.com, or you can scan the QR code depending on where you're watching. So, all right. See y'all soon.